What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Teach Henley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Teach Henley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Teach Henley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Teach Henley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What is going on? I feel like I'm missing something. There it is. There it is. There it is. Can't get online without a timepiece. Gotta have a timepiece on. What's up, friends and family? What's happening? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? You know, I think that people go to sleep and then wake up and they can't wait to help me to understand about what happened with my Pistons last night. Do your big thing, U-Haul TV. Do your big one. Do your big one. What's up, OG, Low Soul, Jamila? Courtney Yeager says he heading into work. Purple Haze in the building. Trees. Yo, you know what else I've noticed? I have a lot. Before we get into housekeeping, before I tell y'all what happened on Sunday, I have a lot of copycat people. I didn't realize it. I have a lot of copycats that are trying to basically duplicate what I do on YouTube. They stealing thumbnail styles. They actually are stealing the exact same videos that I even use and stuff like that. It is crazy. Yo, I've realized that there is no origination. Like, there is no originality in people. It's crazy. Yes, people are stealing. Bro, they stealing the stuff from Room 9. They stealing the stuff from the Millionaire Morning Show. Stealing stuff from the Anton Daniels channel. And I said, what is going on? It's like a whole bunch of them now. Those are the type of people in college and high school. They was the people that wanted to do anything in order to fit in. It's crazy, bro. Like, they don't just take the motivation and and the work ethic and stuff like that, they'd be like, hey, listen, I want to be like you. And they don't change from trying to be like you. My last week, not in the ESPN room, Chad has spoken. All right. I know, Shawnee. I know it's crazy. You know what? It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess there's nothing you could do about it. It's crazy, bro. It's insane. I never thought I'd get to the point in my life where people are literally like, I might have a doppelganger out there. I might have somebody literally trying to pretend to that point. Vito is crazy out here. It is so insane. Anyways, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Some people are saying, Anton, why didn't you do a makeup show on Sunday? Couple different reasons. The first reason is I wanted to kind of take a day to myself and spend some time focusing on the playoffs until it was time to live stream on frame fights. And so, you know, that didn't work out so well as far as the Pistons, but it's okay. It's only one game. We're going to figure that out. But the second thing is, it was kind of one of those days. I don't know if y'all know, like in corporate America or even in the restaurant industry, where like you take a day to fix everything and get stuff together and make sure that other stuff is updated and you prepare for the Patreon and all of that type of stuff. I am going to cover the Stop Nick Shirley act in California today. And so I kind of just like took a day to like fix stuff and was working inside of here and getting stuff cleaned up and refining stuff. Like, even if you look at my equipment in the back, like the cords and stuff, like the cords is all wrapped up. Stuff was getting tangled. It was just like, you know how you work so much that stuff just started to get all everywhere and you just kind of like have a creative chaos type of thing. And so that's kind of how it was going. So figuring that out. But we will do a makeup show at some point. I'm just not sure when. But the rest of the housekeeping. So I am planning on dropping videos inside of the Patreon this week, but I will be traveling also this week. So Wednesday, all the shows are still going to be the same. All right. For the most part. So all the shows are going to be the same. We still going to be doing all of the Millionaire Morning shows. That's going to go without a hitch. We're doing the Millionaire Morning show on Wednesday here, and then we'll be doing the Millionaire Morning show in London. So I don't know what the time difference is in London. Manchester time. So they 5 hours ahead. They are 5 hours ahead where I'm flying to. So everything is going to still be the same. All right. Everything is still going to be the same. So we're going to do the Wednesday show here. And then the Thursday morning show is going to be over from London. All right. All right. So we got that going on. And what else? After hours is still going to be the same. The Wednesday night show, they're going to be able to hold that down on their own. So Shampoo Q, everybody, I'll be watching from the plane and we're going to figure that out. All right. So this week we flying to London, then we back here for a week, and then we're going to fly back over to Brazil, and then we back here, and then we're going to go from there. All right. Same way that we did it in Tokyo, same way that we did it everywhere else. We will be doing live streams on the road. Nothing changes. I'm taking equipment with me, taking everything with me, and we're going to get it popping. All right? So nothing changes. We still going to get it in. We still going to take care of business. What else is it that I need to know before we get started with the show? Yeah, man, it's a lot of imitators. I don't know what that is, man. It's like, I never wanted to be like nobody else. I always just wanted to take like the work ethic, the insight, the understanding. I never, ever, ever in my life was ever like, man, I need to be just like that, or man, I need to be. No, it's like I take the hustle, I take the inspiration, and then I make it mine. You know what I'm saying? Like you got your own style. Like I remember when we was growing up, not even just when we grown up, like even today, like when people get cars, a lot of times they get whatever it is popular in the culture. When people go shopping for clothes, it's whatever popular, right? Oh, we going chrome hearts right now. Oh, we on this. Oh, we on that. And it's like, do y'all have y'all own mind? And so even when people say, Anton, why do you still rock Coogis? Because I'm Anton from AntonDaniels.com. That's me. I wear Gucci loafers. I wear Gucci. I wear black t-shirts on the live stream. Like I am my own. I remember when I was wearing when I was doing the Versace robes and I would switch up between different robes and all of that stuff. I started looking up. I started seeing a bunch of people with the Versace. What the Hey, you wasn't just doing a Versace robe. Then I switched it up. Then I had the pink robe on. Next thing you know, I seen a nigga with a pink robe on. I said, all right. Well, time to move on. Time to move on to the next thing. Shout out to my dog, Mike That Dude. I appreciate you, Mike That Dude, for the 10 ball. Thank you for holding me down on Cash App. Also, my dog, Spencer Campbell. What up, Spence? I appreciate you, Spence. You are goated, my friend. Also, I want to say shout out to U-Haul TV for the super sticker. Thank you for holding me down, U-Haul TV. Coach Chris says, AD, I was talking to a lady friend and we had a question. What are two major red flags and two green lights that you see when looking for a partner? The first problem is that you're looking. People that are looking are basically desperate, and people that are desperate come off as desperate to people that are observing, people that are looking for them. Your first problem as a man and as a woman is that you are not so immersed in doing what you're supposed to do and be taking care of business. And instead, you so focused on trying to find a partner. That's the number one red flag in somebody, is that somebody is looking for a partner instead of organically living a life and letting things come to them. It's desperation. It's desperation. 100%. And people that can't be by themselves are usually horrible people to be in a relationship with. And so conversely, a person that is just focused on having a good time and is not pressed and is not desperate is the first green flag. And then conversely, if they're desperate, that's the first red flag, right? The second thing is conversely, and then flipping it, however it is that you live your life. If you are a dirty person, then that is going to be reflected in how it is that you live your life. If you are a chaotic person and you always late, then that's going to be reflected in how you do everything, whether you're late to church, whether you're late to your job, how you speak to people, right? All of those things are going to be aligned. And if anything is out of alignment, then that's not a person that you want to be with. So I hate it when people say I'm looking for a husband or I'm looking for a wife or I'm looking for a relationship. Stop looking what you're looking at. Always looking somewhere. Why don't you do some self-work and focus on yourself? Why don't you get your life together? I said people that are not able to be by themselves, that are bad by themselves, will be bad with a person. If you can't be by yourself and be happy, you can't be interdependent on somebody else for your happiness. Happiness has to come from within. And then when you get into a relationship, then it's that much better. It's sweeter. You have to be happy in any state that you're found in, right? Whether you in a relationship or you're not in a relationship. And you can't depend on somebody else for your happiness. That way, when you get into a relationship, it's I'm adding value. I don't know if I said that. I said that backwards. Well, there you go. You got to be able to be happy by yourself. All right. Y'all ready to get started with the show? I want to start at the top. Top of the top. You know why I love Apple devices? I like Apple devices because, and I know this happens on a lot of them. It's just easier to sync things, like whatever I do on my computer at home is just better integrated when I get into the studio. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
And with a community grieving after a mass shooting in Louisiana, 10 people were shot in Shreveport, 8 were killed, all of them children. The gunman also dead. Police say the attacks happened at 2 homes. CBS's Jason Allen is there for us tonight with the details. Jason.
Jerika, good evening. People are still filling this Shreveport neighborhood tonight, emotional and upset over this shooting that happened both at this house behind me and another one just up the road. And police told me in the last hour it was a survivor of the shooting who escaped and called them to tell them about it. Just after 6 o'clock this morning, when police got here, they found 10 people had been shot. 8 of them had been killed. And as you mentioned, all 8 of those were children. Police also confirming for me that at least 7 of those 8 children were the children of the shooter, who they identified as Shamar Elkins. After the shooting, police say that Elkins carjacked someone just down the street, got into a pursuit with police, stopped. They say he produced a handgun and police officers shot him there at the scene. Louisiana State Police tonight are also involved in this investigation.
This is a tragic situation, maybe the worst tragic situation we've ever had in Shreveport.
I don't know what people think in the crevices of their mind to want to harm another human being, let alone that of children who have their whole life ahead of them.
Shreveport police said that they had one previous run-in with Mr. Elkins, but looking back at that history, Jerika, they said there is nothing that would explain anything like what happened here in Shreveport this morning.
Yeah, that community will never be the same. Jason Allen, thank you.
Now to some heart.
Look at the background. Listen to the music. Listen to everything that's going on in the background. Let me show you something.
Shreveport police said that they had one previous run-in with Mr. Elkins, but looking.
Everybody nosy. Everybody want to pull up. Everybody trying to figure out what's going on. Everybody trying to, you know what I'm saying, say that they probably knew what happened and all of this stuff. It's the hood, man. It's the hood. That's what Shreveport, Louisiana is. It's the hood. We talked about this yesterday. We'll talk about it in a second.
Back at that history, Jerika, they said there is nothing that would explain anything like what happened here in Shreveport this morning.
Yeah, that community will never be the same. Jason Allen, thank you.
Now to some heartbreaking news. Our nation saw its deadliest mass shooting in years when a Louisiana man shot and killed 8 children this morning. Tonight, we're learning more about.
I told we was having a conversation on frame fight. I don't even know how we got on that conversation with frame fights yesterday. I don't know how we got on that conversation on frame fights yesterday. But we got on a conversation about crime in the community somehow, some way, like towards the end of the live stream. And I was breaking it down and I was explaining to the people that the way that they do statistics is kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy because we always do things based off of rates and percentages and per capita, right? So the way that they rank crime in a city is they say, well, every per 100,000 people, is this happening a misdemeanor? Is this happening as a felony? Is this happening as a violent crime? Is this happening as a homicide, right? And so I broke it down and I pulled up the data and the statistics, and I showed that in Chicago, for example, because Spaces, I know how we got there. So we was talking about training day, right? And I was saying, I don't like how they keep on promoting Los Angeles and the jungle as one of the roughest spots. Shout out to Spaces, he in the chat, as one of the roughest spots in the country, right? Oh man, it's only one way in, one way out. It's like that in every community. It's like that in every hood, right? And I was pulling up the data and the statistics, and I was showing that even though they may have like a Louisiana, a Shreveport, New Orleans, Memphis, all of these different places as more violent areas in crime, that's not necessarily true, right? All of it is violent. All of it is horrible. All of it is bad. And it's because these pockets of crime that are happening in the communities and in these urban communities and these cities are only happening primarily in the hood or in one space, right? So you can have a Chicago that may have 2.6 million people and they got 574 murders in 2024, and this is a fact. And then you can have a New York that got 8 million people and it had 377 murders, right? But guess what? The majority of those murders are going to be concentrated in the same areas. So whereas you might have a Manhattan over there and a Brooklyn over here, but over in the Bronx, it may have a concentration, in Queens and portions of Queens, it may have the majority of the crime that is happening over in those areas. So whereas you have a really populated area in the entirety of New York, the majority of the crime is still concentrated in that one area. So you can't then say, well, Los Angeles is more dangerous than Chicago. It's not, because all the hoods are dangerous wherever you go inside of the United States of America. And if anybody has been down to Louisiana, whether you went to Shreveport or you went to New Orleans, you know it's the hood. It's the hood. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And when I see stuff like this happen, for example, this guy right here, 8 children dead, 7 of which were his. Here's my question to you guys, right? Baton Rouge, here's my question to you guys. And I'm genuinely asking this question to the chat. What would cause for a person to kill kids, let alone kill all of their own kids? Why would a person kill all of their own kids? Eight children. And the point of what I was just saying, as far as the crimes that happen in the community, is that we're desensitized to it because we're used to it. Because if you go into certain communities, you expect for certain things to happen. You expect for there to be drug dealing. You expect for there to be raid vans. You expect for there to be killings. You expect for there to be, running from the police. You just expect for certain things to happen, right? We don't even blink when we see shooting over here, shooting over there. I'll show some of them to you right after this one. But guess what we haven't been desensitized to? Children. No matter what hood you in, no matter where you at, no matter how bad it get, not the kids. Not the kids, bro. Well, of course, Loaded Lotus. You know why? Because everybody is more important, more interested, and we can talk about that too. They're more focused on talking about Boosie and Vlad and how much Boosie making instead of talking about the community. You're not going to see Black Lives Matters, Al Sharpton, the NAN Network. You're not going to see Barack Obama falling over there to get over to Shreveport, Louisiana.
You know what Barack is doing right now? He's pandering. He's sitting up next to Mom Donnie, reading children's books for the camera, and pretending like he actually cares about people. You know why nobody is talking about it? Because it's not popular to do so. Think about it, man. You're not going to see Kamala Harris pull up in the hood, bro. It's not safe. I'm telling you that it's not popular in the community, no matter how horrific the crime is. This is about as horrific as you can possibly get. This is about as horrific as you can possibly get. 8 kids killed by their father, slain in Shreveport, Louisiana, in the hood. It don't get no blacker. It don't get no more impactful in any way, shape, or form. And you will not see the majority of the community covering this in any way, shape, or form. There will be no parades. There will be no Black Lives Matters. There will be no marching. There will be nothing. You have to save yourself in your own hood, in your own community. Save yourself. You got to save yourself.
That gunman, Shamar Elkins, who was the father of 7 of those 8 slain children. Tonight, the community of Shreveport has been left shattered. The children, 3 boys and 5 girls, ranging in age from 3 to 11.
Police say the crime scene spans 2 houses. It ended when officers opened fire on the gunman during a police chase. Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pulliam is live now with new details tonight. Tim?
Liz Jory, we now know the names of the 8 kids shot and
YouTubers are not gonna, they too busy focusing on me, which is not a bad thing. It keeps me in the algorithm. But they focused on me. They're not focused on actually solving for the problems within the community. It don't do enough views. And their audience is not used to talking about things that's meaningful. They only focusing on how big my stuff is. DJ Ace Production says not to be judgmental, but he looks devious and devilish. Why are we not being judgmental? Why are we not being judged? Why we can't judge these people? Why we can't say, hey, he a POS. He killed his kids. I don't think that that's crazy to say, yo, he a monster.
Killed, and we're also learning that the shooter had ties to the military and was known to police. This is a Facebook image of the Louisiana man law enforcement believe is a cold-blooded killer. Shreveport police identifying him as Shamari Elkins, the alleged gunman who shot and killed 8 kids. At least 7 of them were his own flesh and blood. The coroner released their names, a total of 7 siblings and a cousin ranging in age from 3 to 11. Jayla, Shayla, Kayla, Layla, Markaden, Soraya, Kedarian, and Braylon. Neighbors mourn their deaths at the crime scene.
This is not a freaking joke. This is real, and this is the result when someone snaps.
Police are still trying to determine what motivated the shooting. The attack began before sunrise when police say the suspect shot.
That's the hood, man. Look at this. Ain't nothing there.
What motivated the shooting?
Ain't nothing
there.
The
attack
bro.
Began.
That's the hood. That ain't nothing there, bro. Ain't nothing there but death and sex. That's all people do is they have sex, have babies, try to get on federal assistance, and die. Ain't nothing there. There's nothing there, bro.
Sunrise when police say the suspect shot a woman at one home and then drove to another house to unleash more violence.
The gray house is the house in which 7 children were located inside that were deceased. There was an additional deceased child that looked like he had tried to escape the residence out the back on the roof.
Officers say a second woman was shot and is believed to be the mother of the suspect's children. Both women are now in the hospital in critical condition. Officers fired at the suspect during a chase after he carjacked the vehicle at gunpoint. ABC News reporting the 31-year-old joined the Louisiana National Guard in 2013 and served 7 years without being deployed. The shooting took place in House Speaker Mike Johnson's district. He offered thoughts and prayers to the family. The shooting impacting people beyond Louisiana. The mayor of Shreveport highlighting that in his statement that reads in part, "Tragedy like this does not belong to one family alone. It belongs to all of us. Today, our community."
It's the truth, Chad. Ain't nothing there but death and sex, because when people ain't got nothing better to do but to kill each other, the other thing that they do is they just have sex. And listen, I don't care where you are in the world. Over in India, you know what they do? Sex. And if it ain't no girls around, let's go ahead and find us a goat. I'm telling you, bro, ain't nothing in there. And you know what be happening? It don't matter if it's the white community. You ever been to some of these white communities where they methed out and it ain't no real opportunity? Drive to rural America. They got them in every state. And every state is rural America. Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Montana. You know what they do? They get high. They figure out a way to get high. Even if they got to sniff paint, they get high. And they have a lot of sex, and it doesn't matter what she look like. She don't have to have no teeth. She don't have to have none of that stuff. They bust it down for a real one. It don't matter if they auntie. If it's him and his auntie, then him and his auntie just gonna be getting it in. Oh, y'all don't want to really have a conversation today, because I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Community is grieving the unimaginable loss of innocent children. There are no words that can make sense of it and no distance that shields us from it.
Take out this evil out of our nation, out of our parish, out of our city, out of our lives, God. We know mental illness is real, God.
This attack, considered one of the deadliest mass shootings in Louisiana, the community asking for prayers.
Let me tell you something, bro. One thing about people is that they're going to have them some sex. No matter what, they're going to have a bunch of kids. And notice that the majority of the people that have the majority of the kids are usually, you know why the birth rate is declining? Because a lot of us is becoming more educated, becoming more wise. We doing studies. We trying to figure out exactly what the cost is in order to raise a child. Over there, this man right here that just eliminated 7 of the 8 of his kids or whatever, he ain't had no prospects. He wasn't balling. He wasn't getting to it. He wasn't running up a bag. He wasn't all of that. It's the truth. If you go to any of these communities, any community, if you want to be the man, because see, a lot of y'all are losers in real life, right? A lot of people that claim to be cool are really losers in real life. All you got to do is change your location, go to a more rural area where you the man in that city and you can transform it. Hey, they ain't never seen nothing like you. Who else should have folk over there? If you from the East Coast and you want to get some motion, go down to Shreveport, Louisiana. They ain't never seen no junk like that before. Oh yeah, that's New York City. That's New York City over there. Ain't never seen no junk like that. That's why you feel out of place when you go to places like Los Angeles or you go over to Miami. You like, wait a minute, it's too much competition out here. Let me go on back to where I came from because I'm actually doing better than I thought that I was. Going down to the Delta, going down to Mississippi. Real talk. Listen, I'm VIP everywhere I go. No matter where I go, I'm good. Right. I spend enough money to where people are going to treat me a certain way no matter what. Right. But when I go down to the South, it ain't that they got Southern hospitality. They poor. Y'all mistaking Southern hospitality for poverty. And I'm not talking about the fake South like Atlanta, Miami. I'm talking about the real South. I'm talking about the Delta. I'm talking about Arkansas. When I go down to, why I like going down to Mississippi? Why I like going down to Biloxi, Mississippi? You know why? Because all they got is military bases out there. And so when I go to cruise on the coast or when I pull up, they can tell. And so I can smell money on you. They could tell. They could tell the difference. It's a big difference. You know how I can tell when a town or a city got money, or when people are used to getting money and the people that's not used to getting money? You want to know how I can tell? I can look at the stores. I can look at the malls. When I go over to Biloxi, they got the basic stuff, the basics. I'm giving you the blueprint of what life is because I've seen this world and I'm gonna continue to go. So I gotta go to London. I'm gonna go to London. I'm going to Brazil. I can look at the stores, and all I gotta do is look at the proximity of the high-end stores. If they don't have any availability to go and get anything, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, any of that type of stuff, Chanel. If they only got an outlet, but they don't have a Polo Ralph Lauren, because see, y'all used to go into the outlets. You haven't actually went to the Polo Ralph Lauren store. The Polo Ralph Lauren store is expensive as F. It is very expensive in there. You're not getting a blazer. A lot of times the blazers is going to cost you $6,000 for a blazer, right? And so when you go into some of these cities, and I catch the bus, I do all of that stuff. I go and I figure out what's really happening in the city. I can tell whether they got money or not, because all I got to do is look at the people, look at the stores, look at the economy, and look at how impressed they are by the basic stuff that we think is normal. I'm not derailing. I'm not derailing at all. I've covered it. 8 kids died, horrible, and now I'm giving you some more insight on what you need to look for when you're going into some of these towns where some of this stuff, this type of stuff happens. This ain't no derailment. I'm giving you the game. Soak it up. I like to put the medicine inside of the candy. We talk about the issues, we talk about the article, and then we go into a whole bunch of other stuff that we elaborate on. When you go into these cities, it's different. And I will also tell you that a lot of these people that are in these cities have never been out of their city. There are still a group of people that only have experienced life on Instagram. They only know Shreveport. They only know New Orleans. They only know Arkansas. They only know Atlanta. They only know where they from in their hood. I'm telling you, there's so many people in this world. Y'all are privileged. Y'all are blessed, and you don't even know it. You're privileged and you blessed, and you have no clue how privileged and blessed you are. When you go around, when y'all first start traveling, we're going to go over to the next story in a second. When y'all first start traveling, right, the rookie travelers usually go to the most popular places at first, and that's the only places they go to, because that's the stuff that's been advertised to them on TV. It's the stuff that's been advertised to them on social media. That's where everybody go. They go to New York, they go to Los Angeles, they go to Miami, they go to Atlanta, they go to Chicago, right? Those are the main, Vegas. Throw Vegas in there, right? Then when you get a little bit more seasoned and you've been to all of these places for a couple of, in Houston, and you go to these places for a little bit, that's when you start tapping in. You say, you know what, let me go to Dallas. And when I go to Dallas, I'm going to navigate through Fort Worth. And let me go to OKC. And you know what? They got an interesting little river walk over here. And I'm going to head up to Milwaukee. And then I'm going to go all the way down to this place and that place. And man, I'm going to Biloxi. And I'm going to go to, like, when you start to, and then that's when you start to really get curious. You start finding out what's really happening throughout the world, right? Because you're not just going to the resorts, you're going to places and seeing what people are really doing in different places throughout the world. And then your worldview changes. You look at things from a different perspective. And that's the difference a lot of times between people that are stuck on a Democrat plantation or don't understand how capitalism works, or don't really know what China is really doing over there. And so they look at all of the propaganda, or they look at what CNN is telling them, and they don't understand it. They don't understand the culture. They don't understand the language. They don't understand, like when you go over to Japan, they think differently, right? And then you can compare and contrast. And when you get a different worldview, you also understand things differently from a political perspective and how cities need to be ran. South Bend, Indiana. Facts. Traverse City. I love going up to Traverse City. You go up to what's the name of it? Walk on Wood, DJ Ace Productions, Mackinac Island. Go to Mackinac Island. Guess what's on Mackinac Island? Here, right up here in Michigan. It's beautiful, but it gives you a different pace of life. You know why? Because they don't have no cars. You got to get around on horseback or walk. They don't have no cars. There's no cars on, so it's a slower pace of life. In the wintertime, it's hard to get back and forth off of Mackinac Island. Got to take the ferry. That's correct. Yep. Anton, what's your favorite city to visit? Las Vegas. Vegas. Vegas, baby. Las Vegas is my favorite place to visit. You know why Vegas is my favorite place to visit? We're about to go over to the next story. You know why Vegas is my favorite place to visit? I would never live there. I would never live there. Las Vegas is my favorite place to visit. I love Vegas. Vegas, there is nothing not at your fingertips in Vegas. Nothing. Vegas, y'all don't really know what being treated like a king look like. You know how the NBA players was complaining about hotels over in what's the name of that city? Memphis. You know how it's how they was complaining about the hotels in Memphis, and then when the guy went out and he was doing all of this stuff to show y'all, no man, this hotel is really nice. You have not seen nice until you seen some of these places and some of these hotels in Miami and Las Vegas. Bro, there are private entrances to parts of buildings that you've never seen before. There are 2 and 3 level penthouses in Vegas that is only available to a select group of people. I'm telling you. And you have a dedicated butler. A butler for your hotel room. I'm telling you. And you can just always catch a flight. No matter where you are in the United States of America, you can always catch a flight to Vegas. It's one way. It's just, it is. It's a playground for adults. Make sure you guys, you seen a man pair of shoes that cost $15,000 in the Vegas mall. I think if Vegas was the first place that I spent like a bunch of money as far as like clothes. And at first it was like, cause I was in Caesar's Palace. And you know, in Caesar's, they have all of the stores and they have multiple different Louis Vuitton stores or whatever. And I went to Versace store and I think I had spent like $12,000 and I had like a hoodie that was $2,600. And I was just like, it was just like I remember it was just like a little bit of nervousness. Like, am I really about to spend $11,000? And I was just like, skip it. Let's rock. Let's go. Let's do it. So Houston is the best city in Texas. Cap. Dallas is better than Houston. Let me see. I know that's gonna bother y'all, but that's the truth. Jakim says, yo, Anton, since it's 420, have you ever smoked weed? And if you did, when did you stop? What kind of question is that? I'll come back to that one. Coach Chris says, when did the hood get this bad in your opinion? And when did the hood become as bad as it is now? and what makes it gradually and progressively worse. The worst part of the hoods got the worst during the crack era and the crack epidemic. All right. Chase Barnes says this man basically took an entire generation in one setting. My God. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm that dude says probably paternity fraud, no excuse to end lives. I don't know, bro. I don't know. The university says when your mind is international racism is cute. All right, let me go back to Jaqueen Barr. I know it's 420 for a lot of people, so a lot of people gonna be burning up. I don't think it's Anton. Have you ever smoked trees? Yeah, when I was maybe 17, 16, I tried it one time. I tried a cigarette before too. Just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. For people that smoke trees, and the reason that I kind of stayed away from it is because everybody that I've seen that are openly smokers, they don't know how to control themselves. It's almost like, first of all, a lot of times they lethargic and they don't get their work done as much as they should. The second thing is they don't know how to smoke and then just keep it to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta smell them smelling like that on the plane. You gotta smell them smelling like that at the game. You gotta, and it's like, yo, fam, why don't you keep your habits on some G stuff and just chill out? You know what I'm saying? It's like, why do everybody gotta know that you smoke, that you smell like smoke? I don't understand that. Brush your teeth, take a shower, or whatever. I think that too many people tell too much information sometimes. And it's like, if you do, why do everybody got to know that that's what you do? And why wouldn't that just be in your inner circle? That don't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody don't have to know everything. OTG Noble says, keep up the hard work, Mr. Algorithm. I'm on it, big dog. Jay Hunter Lee says, brother AD, have you been to Monaco yet? No, that's on my list. It's on my list. There's so much money over there. Monaco got intimidation money. Or Monaco. You can say Monaco or Monaco. Monaco got intimidation money, bro. They just obscenely rich over there. William Collins says, great show last night. Is it open panel for movie breakdown? Y'all were riding my boy Slim Reaper last night. He was cooking solo. Salute. What we try to do on movie night is we put out the movies that we gonna watch for that week. So this week it's gonna be, I'll tell y'all what movies we watching this week. This week is Denzel week 2. We going part 2 on Denzel, and it is American Gangster, Hurricane, and Malcolm X. I'll post it up on I'm gonna post it on a community post on After Hours channel on Room 9. And so what we usually like to do is we like to have people, if you've watched the movies, then you can come up. If you've watched the movies, then you can come up and discuss it once we start talking about the movies that we posted. And so, yeah, we dropped the link in the chat. And if you've watched the movies, you're more than welcome to come up and kick it. Absolutely. Faith Walker Brown, I appreciate you, Faith. Happy girl. I like that. You look so happy. All right, y'all. Let me see what else we got popping off. We got a lot of subjects. Before we got to stay local. So we got to cover a couple local stories. And then we're going to start moving into Trump. We're going to start moving into the money. Y'all know how we do it around here. But let's get into the local stuff. One more thing that I wanted to talk about locally. Have a Westerners movie week. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't think that that's a bad thing. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
A scene playing out in Queens, traffic grinding to a standstill as a street takeover involving nearly 100 cars sparks total chaos and even flames. Good evening, and thank you for being with us. I'm Arthur Chien. The drag racing turns violent when police say suspects started jumping on the hood of a squad car. Fox 5's Richard Jacovis is live for us in Middle Village, Queens, with details on the illegal gathering. Good evening, Richard.
Arthur, the NYPD is still patrolling these four corners of Middle Village just hours after that wild scene played out in this section of Queens, making it look more like there was dangerous stunts being performed on a Hollywood movie set. But this was no movie set. This was real-life mayhem in Middle Village. Just before 2 a.m. this morning, you see cars in this video, some of them doing donuts, flooding 69th and Elliott Avenue and lighting a ring of fire in the middle of the street. Cops say they responded within a minute to multiple 911 calls, and while most of the drivers and people watching disperse immediately, they say these three people jumped onto the hood of a police car, cracking its windshield. Local lawmakers say this is a so-called car takeover, an unlawful and reckless meetup that's organized on social media. We spoke to some people who heard the commotion in the middle of the night.
All I know is I heard a lot of noise from the cars, so yeah. That was actually what happened.
And then when you pulled out your video and you started taking the video, did you see what happened?
I didn't see the whole thing. All I know is all I hear is a bunch of cars going faster and a lot of noise,
If it's late at night and all this is going on, it's not exactly pleasant. So it is a little scary.
There should be some kind of technology that police officers or law enforcement should be able to monitor social media. And if there's going to be a meetup somewhere, that they could be there before it happens.
That's what they did in Cincinnati. I did a review video where they basically did that in Cincinnati. And when they finally did the meetup, because the Cincinnati police was actually monitoring all of the stuff that was happening in social media. These police departments, they got to get with the times, bro. They seriously got to get with the times.
City Councilman Phil Wong, who represents this part of Queens, now calling for a full debrief to ensure this chaos doesn't happen again. We spoke with former NYPD detective David Sarney, who says the problem here is the lack of
Look at him.
Law enforcement.
The problem isn't the lack of law enforcement. The problem is the culture. The problem is the parents. The problem is the fact that the law enforcement is hands is tied. When the police showed up, 3 people stomped in the police officer's window and on the police vehicle, the New York police, and then they just got away. The police has been rendered useless. They can't even arrest anybody. You know what? It's 2 things. Actually, it's 3 things that play into this, right? But I'm going to just highlight 2. The first thing is it's a different type of people out here that's doing these takeovers. They not like how we was when we was younger, right? And let me explain. When we went out, we wasn't there to tear up. We was there to race, and that's not good, right? Because it's not like we was perfect. We was there to actually race our cars, and we was there to have fun as far as with the women. We wasn't looking to make it difficult and make it hot. So we wasn't trying to disturb the neighbors, because when the police came, we actually feared the police because we was worried about getting our cars taken. We was worried about getting our stuff impounded, getting arrested, that then affecting what happened with your job and what you had going on. This is different. This is different. This is clout chasing. This is 100% clout chasing. And you're seeing takeovers happen, whether it's the teen takeovers of downtowns or you see these street takeovers, because it's a copycat environment. We didn't even know what was happening outside of our own hood and in our own culture because we didn't have social media in the same way that they have social media. So whatever we was doing in our own spaces, that's what our culture was. And that's why cultures were so different no matter where you went inside of the United States of America. Even when it came to skate culture, check it out. They had to actually, I remember my parents, and then when I grew up, I went to one of the skating parties. It was like not an international, but a national skating party, right? And so what would happen is it would be this annual thing where they would go over to Atlanta, or they would go to Los Angeles, or they would go to Chicago. And when you went to different places, Chicago had a whole nother wave than Detroit. Detroit skate style was different from Chicago. Chicago's was different from Los Angeles. Los Angeles was different from Atlanta. And so everybody had a different style in which they skated, right? We would look at the people in Chicago and say, man, y'all ain't got no stops on y'all stuff, and y'all skates ain't even laced up all the way. What y'all got going on over here? We had different wheels. We had different styles. Everything was different. And that's how it was in every part of life and every part of culture. What they liked in cars over in Los Angeles, they was more into racers, right? They was more into Lancers, Supras, Honda Civics over there in Los Angeles. That's not what we did in Detroit. Detroit, it was all American muscle. Monte Carlos, Grand Nationals, Chargers, Challenger, that type of stuff, right? Plymouths. It was called a Plymouth back then. And so they did low riders, 6.4s, because their weather was better. And then when we went down south, you would get a completely different car. We bought most of our cars down south, right? Because they didn't have no salt. They didn't have to worry about the winter and the salt messing up their cars. So anytime you seen a super clean Buick Regal, or you seen a super clean Cutlass Supreme, or a super clean Monte Carlo SS, a lot of times you would get them straight from the south, or you would buy it in the south and you would bring it up because it was cheaper down south and the frame wasn't rusted out. The El Caminos, facts, with no back on the back of it. And so we had different cultures. Now, this is a copycat culture, a copycat space. I was looking at a video on TikTok of what was happening in Detroit and the young people that was running around with the cars and all of this stuff. And I was like, I looked at it, honestly. Let me show you. I don't even know if I got it saved. I don't even know if I got it saved. I don't think I saved it. But I was looking at it and I started looking and I was thinking to myself, ain't none of them people even from Detroit. Every last one of those people was from the suburbs. I can't find it. I don't want to look at it. Oh, I know why I can't find it. Because it was on Instagram. None of these people was even from Detroit, bro. And I'm like, oh, they coming, and we hated that too, bro. I can't find it. We hated that too. One of the things we also hated was we hated when people would come down to the city and then it wasn't from here and they would make the city hot and then they would go back to their suburbs. They will make the city hot and then they will go back to the suburbs. So when you see this type of culture and this type of stuff happening, it's two things. Number one is because these kids are just reckless and they copying off of what's happening throughout the culture everywhere else. That's number one. And number two is because the police have been neutered. And Mom Donnie is not concerned about what is going on in y'all neighborhoods.
Lack of law enforcement.
Given the fact they're starting a fire in the middle of the street, it's chaos. And it's not fair to the law-abiding citizens in New York City to see this happen in their neighborhoods. And the police, and it seems like the police look powerless in this. They're not. But when you don't have enough personnel on late tours, to cover this, you're going to have this problem. So I don't know how you're going to deal with this problem unless you start hiring more police.
Now, cops say they were able to issue one summons last night only to a person who was blocking the crosswalk. NYPD detectives are now reviewing surveillance video to try to look for those 3 people who vandalized that squad car. We reached out tonight to the mayor's office for comment, but haven't heard back. We're live in the Middle Village section of Queens. Richard Giacobas, Fox 5 News. Arthur.
All right, thank you, Richard.
It looks like a scene out of a Fast and Furious movie, but it is in Hollywood. It's Middle Village, Queens, just last night.
Spectators watched on as nearly 100 cars commandeered the intersection of 69th Street and Elliott Avenue, along with drivers doing donuts around a ring of fire lit in the middle of the road.
Police tell us they were on the scene within a minute to break up the disorderly and downright dangerous scene. They tell us most of the cars drove off, but not before 3 people crushed the window of an NYPD cruiser.
New York City Council member Phil Wong, who represents that part of Queens, told us he is upset tonight. He spoke with Eyewitness News reporter Crystal Cranmore.
We heard screeching and screeching. It actually woke us up, and then we ran to the side window and just continuously, just like, you smell like the rubber.
It was pure automotive mayhem.
They were set up, like just waiting to take their turn in and out of the gas station.
As several cars shut down the intersection at 69th Street and Elliott Avenue in Maspeth around 1:45 this morning.
And they started a fire, which I think is insane, by a gas station. That's so, idiotic to do that.
The chaos did not stop there. Police say shortly after they arrived and dispersed the illegal car meetup, 3 people jumped on the hood of a marked police car and cracked the windshield. Detectives spent much of the day looking for clues to track the suspects down, stopping at homes and businesses for surveillance. Community members say they're concerned.
Somebody could have hit the shop. They could have crashed into the gas stations.
Councilman Phil Wong's office was flooded with calls. He says he's been in touch with the NYPD.
From what I heard, they ran through some plates and they are fake plates. So they came prepared. They're not occasional meetups. They are planned.
Wong says these car takeovers have targeted other parts of the community, and efforts are underway to see what structural changes can be implemented to deter them.
We're going to work with DOT to see how we put them in. We already have some speed bumps in the district, but not designed for these meetups.
Residents, in the meantime, hope for swift accountability.
This is craziness. This is where people live. This is, to me, an attack on our civility.
Track down these people, figure out where they are, tow their cars, suspend their license.
Authorities say they issued a summons to one driver who reportedly blocked a crosswalk. The chaos, fortunately, did not lead to any injuries. The investigation remains ongoing. In Maspeth, Crystal.
Y'all want to see what Obama is doing? Let me show y'all what Obama is doing. And more importantly, Mom Donnie. This is what they own. All right. They giving tours. They showing y'all what their life is like. While all of this is happening and whatever it is going on in y'all neighborhoods, this is what they own. Okay.
What's the next
Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I want to move over to one thing really quickly before we continue. Shout out to Jason MF Rush says, I live in Clinton, Tennessee, just outside of Knoxville and Oak Ridge. Nothing like this ever happens in these areas because our police show up fast with force. Over half of Norris is on video at the police department. Shout out to Jason. I appreciate you, big dog. I want to share this story really quickly with y'all. of a cop that apparently shot his partner in Chicago. Are y'all familiar with this, of what's going on with this? All right, so let me give y'all a little bit of insight on this. Before I tell y'all what's going on, all right? So, the woman that died, her name is Crystal Rivera, all right? Crystal Rivera. This is what she looked like. Crystal Rivera is a female police officer that was shot and killed by her partner doing a foot pursuit. All right. So that's what she looked like. They recently released the body cam footage. Now, for those of you that may not be familiar, it said that the partner who fatally shot CPD officer Crystal Rivera waited almost 2 minutes after shooting to provide aid, the new video shows. So they released the body cam footage. And I'm going to show that with y'all in a minute. As she lay dying inside of an apartment building, the video cam shows video evidence released Friday by the Civilian Office of Police Accountability showed for the first time what happened at the chaotic scene as Officer Carlos Baker shot Rivera as they chased another man they believed they was carrying a firearm. Since the shooting, Baker has been relieved of his police powers, and Rivera's family has sued both him and the Chicago Police Department, alleging that the shooting came after Rivera broke off a romantic relationship with him. All right? That is why this is important. Oh man, is it friendly fire or is it intentional? All right? The family is alleging that they had a relationship. So then when they were on this call, that he failed to render aid within 2 minutes, but then on top of that, he was also the person that shot her. All right. So I'm going to deep dive into this, and I want to actually show y'all the body cam footage of what was going on. Okay. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
The new body camera video showing what happened before and after Crystal Rivera,
like this is
the
low.
officer, was shot.
Yeah, even with the video, there are still a lot of questions surrounding her partner and his actions after she was shot.
Well, yeah. Hey! Give us your hands! Let me see your hands, bro!
June 5th, 2025, two Chicago police officers chase a suspect into a Chatham apartment building. What happens next unfolds in seconds, but the fallout lasts for months. Body camera video from Officer Carlos Baker shows him sprinting up a stairwell, his partner, Officer Crystal Rivera, right behind him. In seconds, everything changed.
Let me see your hands!
If you look,
Why did he turn around and shoot? Is it me or is that a little weird? Why he kicked in the door? Because she's behind him. Remember that. She's behind him. He's the first one through the door. Or not the first one through the door, but his partner that he wound up shooting is behind him. All right, let me slow this down.
If If you look closely, Baker kicks open an apartment door and comes face to face with an armed man. Surveillance video from inside the unit shows it even more clearly. Within seconds, Officer Rivera surveillance video from Baker kicks open an apartment door and comes face to face with an armed man. Surveillance video.
Okay, so this is two guys. One of them is in this other room. The other guy rolled over on the couch and they went into this other room.
Baker kicks open an apartment door and comes face to face with an armed man. Surveillance video from inside the unit shows it even more clearly. Within seconds, Officer Rivera, a mother of a young daughter, is shot in the hallway and dies. Neighbors immediately call 911.
Somebody shooting in this hallway. I heard one.
One side of the hallway. How many shots did you hear?
One. Somebody is in the hallway yelling something about the police.
After the shot, Baker retreats up the stairs. Nearly 25 seconds later, he calls out.
Crystal, you good?
There's no response, and moments later, Officer Baker is back on his radio.
Need an ambulance now! I can't get my partner.
It takes almost 2 minutes before Baker returns to Rivera. He finds her bleeding on the floor, then drags her down the stairs, telling her this.
Stay with me.
Use of force analyst Mike Brown says this is when the officer didn't use his training, and that could be because the situation was stressful.
His LEMAR training didn't even kick in, which is what they're taught to do when persons are shot, providing CPR, whatever the case may be. His main thing is to make sure he's not about to get shot again, what he's thinking, and I can see that happening.
The shooting was already under scrutiny even before this video was released by the Civilian Office of Police Accountability.
From looking at his reaction, hearing his audio, his reaction to it, I don't think he even realized at the time that he had pulled his trigger. I don't. They're chasing a man with a gun, and then they get confronted with a guy with a rifle.
Rivera's family filed a lawsuit alleging Baker and Rivera had an off and on again relationship for nearly 2 years, and that Rivera had recently ended it. It also claims that just one day before the shooting, Baker showed up at Rivera's home uninvited. Now,
and that's what messes it up, because I could see that, right? I could genuinely see, all right, cool. It probably was a stressful situation. I don't think that they going in and he's thinking, yeah, I'm about to kill my partner. I don't think that that's what happens. But this is where the problem lies, all right? This is where the problem lies. When you get into a physical relationship with somebody that you are on the job with, it's going to make it more complicated. We'll never know, right? Like, we can speculate. You can speculate, and I'll talk about this on After Hours tomorrow. We can speculate, right? Let me put this on the list. You can speculate, and we can say, oh, man, it might have been intentional. Or, man, maybe it was a mistake. Or maybe it was a mistake and he didn't render aid to her because they just broke it off, right? You can do all of that, but guess what? No matter what, even with the body cam footage, we will never know, because it's not like the culprits that was running for the police officers didn't have a gun. They had a gun. The people that they were chasing, the ones that was on the camera, they came through and he came back and said, oh, shoot, they did have a gun. They had a gun. So it's not like you can't make the case and say, yep, that was an honest mistake. You can't definitively say one way or another that it was or it wasn't intentional, or that he didn't render aid within 2 minutes to her and then that didn't play a role. That the adrenaline, all of this stuff is happening, right? Because, again, you can't plan this. You can't plan to kick in the door, people got a gun, and then you make a mistake and shoot your partner as you're backing up because you see that the person got a gun. You can't plan that. Worst case scenario or best case scenario, Let's do best case scenario. Best case scenario, he didn't render aid to her. Why are we even having this conversation right now? Because we would not be having this conversation had this dude had not got into a romantic relationship with a woman that he works directly next to. You popping up at her crib, y'all go on and off again for the last 2 years. This is why it then becomes problematic. If y'all working in a call center, stay away from them hoes. They're going to get you in trouble. If you working in corporate America, I've always had a rule that you do not bust down women that you are on the job with. That just goes without saying. It's messy. And anything can happen. And the first thing that happens, they're going to start looking at you funny. And they're going to say, well, what incentive did you have to not help her? And I know it's complicated. I know it's not a subject that y'all want to talk about. I know it's not something that y'all interested in having a conversation about, because you gonna do what you want to do when you want to do it. And you don't believe it until fat meat turn greasy, and then you got to suffer from it, or that chick mess up your job. You just don't believe it because, man, these little every single environment is what I found. Shout out to you, 2009. Welcome to the show, big dog. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Make sure you get into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Every single situation, every single environment is like high school. All of them. All of them are like high school. All of them. If you go into the plant, it's like high school. He know who he is. This is supervisor. He hitting on the little chicks. Union rep trying to get some uppance, one-uppance, right? You got old school over there that might be running, giving people, he the upperclassman trying to give people a couple little pointers. And if a chick is even remotely halfway decent looking, every dude in the plant is going to be trying to knock it down. All of them are going to be trying to knock it down. And she know what she doing. Keep on wearing them tight jeans every time she go to work. She get all dialed up. She be looking fresher than she look in the daytime when she go to work. She know what she doing. Same thing in corporate America. Don't matter what corporate American environment that you work in. If you in an office setting, you'll be tempted. You'll be tempted when she smile at you and say, oh my God, oh, let's go to lunch and let's talk about, ain't nothing for y'all to talk about at lunch by yourselves. That's an invitation to at a future date, get a hotel room on lunchtime, lunch hours, or to get some head in the car. Yep, I'm telling you, busting it down for a real one. All of a sudden, y'all keep on going to lunch together. Everybody notice it. Ain't nobody dumb. They see both of y'all walking out at the same time every day. Now, she acting weird at home because she getting extra dressed up. And homie notice it, but he ain't really saying nothing because he can't really say nothing about the fact that she going to work. You doing all of the extras, doing all of this stuff, keep hunching on the work, messing up your money, your work suffering, your mind is suffering. Do y'all know that when you focus on women, you start losing money immediately at work? You start slacking off. Your reviews get a little bit less and a little bit lower. You start messing. You had a promotion on the way and you messed up the bag. You had a promotion on the way and now you messed up the bag. Why? Because you got this little funky little thing over there that's willing to give you all of the loving because she don't really know you. She don't really like you. Y'all, if y'all was to get together today, y'all actually wouldn't even be compatible or like each other, but it's an escape because it's the fantasy, the familiarity, being together all the time. It don't seem wrong because we just friends and we just don't want to cross boundaries and we, it's cool. That's my homegirl. I ain't thinking about her. I ain't thinking about her, man. Nah, man, that's just man. You're infatuated with her. going through all of her social media, but you be careful not to like everything because you don't want to make it suspicious. So you just go through and look at all of her social media. Every time she check her story, she see you on her story. You be the first one. You get a notification as soon as she put a story up. And you don't even know. You about to mess up your family. You about to lose your kids. You about to lose your kids. You're going to lose your family. You're going to lose everything. You about to lose your job. They got y'all on camera. You think it's cute. It's not. It's not. You think it's cute. This is the truth. Bro, I fired people in corporate America for doing so. Well, now I haven't actually had to fire them, but I had to send them because people will be complaining. So then you pull the cameras and you got to send them to HR. You got to send them to HR. And guess what? You can avoid this. But because y'all work together, y'all spending so much time together, y'all now it's starting to cross over. You don't know the real her, bro. You know work her. That's work her. That's not real her. Real her is different. And you either it can only happen. It can only play out one of three ways, right? Because nobody is just going to go their separate way and that just be the end of it. It's only going to happen one of three ways. Either A, you're going to get fired. A, you're going to get fired. B, you're going to catch a case and then get fired because she going to save herself, right? That's B. Or C, you're going to lose your family. And then we got the D, all of the above. All of the above. As you just can't let go. You can't don't y'all know that that's also one of the reasons why a lot of the older guys, the old school guys, like way back in the day, that's another reason why a lot of those guys wouldn't let their girls actually get a job and go to work, because they knew what it was like as far as all of these guys chasing these chicks. Very rarely do you see a woman that has been in a work environment that has not had some kind of conversation, kiss, lunch, sex, or all of the above with a coworker. Very rarely, and it doesn't matter what the industry is. Nurses, airline, corporate America, plant workers, Amazon workers, delivery drivers, mail people. No, doesn't matter. All of them. It takes a person that is 100% on their grind, is focused, to stay out of the BS. Football coaches for the University of Michigan. Every profession. If I drive down this street and I look at 40 businesses, is somebody in that office that's hunching with somebody that they don't need to be hunching on. And some of y'all think that because y'all single that it's okay because I'm single. No, it's not. You're going to lose your job, you dummy. Just because you ain't got nobody that you got to answer to at home don't mean that you need to be mixing with the work. You're going to lose your job. Do you know that I know NBA players that have gotten traded? And I can't even say their names. I know NBA players that have gotten traded because they couldn't keep their hands to themselves from the cheerleaders, from the office workers, and from other people's wives. There are NBA players that have gotten traded and lost their careers because they couldn't keep in their pants. How you going to fumble the bag? And a lot of people will never know. You just get blackballed. You just get blackballed. Oh, man, you can't. Nope. Word get around. That's just the end of it. Never, ever, ever, ever ruin the bag. Listen, whatever you want to do on your own time, whatever you got going on after that, figure it out. That's cool. I don't care. But under no circumstances do you ruin your money and your career over a chick.
And relationship for nearly 2 years, and that Rivera had recently ended it. It also claims that just one day before the shooting, Baker showed up at Rivera's home uninvited. Now the family argues the situation raises serious questions about why the two were still working together and whether this tragedy could have been prevented.
You being a former police chief doing this for so long, what is your response?
You know, when I see it, it's difficult to watch. That's first and foremost, and it's horrible. And what I see is two cops trying to do their job, and it just went horribly wrong in the blink of an eye.
The Rivera family's lawsuit alleges Baker faced 11 complaints in under 3 years, including an allegation that he showed a gun to a woman during a 2022 incident. He has also been linked to other reported incidents, including a high-speed chase that ended in a 7-car crash where police say he failed to notify anyone until afterwards, and a separate case in which he was stripped of his police powers for allegedly trying to use his position to obtain video of an off-duty altercation. And of course, we did reach out to attorneys for the Rivera family.
And you know why it came to it? He was able to save his career all the way up until this point until they realized that he actually had been in an on-again, off-again relationship with the woman. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I've seen people fumble their careers. I've seen people lose their whole lives. I've seen people do some of the dumbest stuff ever over a woman. Shout out to Anthony LeBrack. I'm going to just say LeBrack. Shout out to you for the 2 super stickers. Thank you, my friend, for holding me down. JC Inc. says 8 hours a day. That's more time than our own families. And that's why people get caught up. Giorgio Let's Go says coworker hunching only works when you work at McDonald's. Not nowadays. Not nowadays. Because I've heard of like managers and people, and they like, yo, why the managers always got to hit on the new workers? That's what I'm trying to understand. I don't understand why managers try to hit on the new workers. It's like, yo, just let them make it, bro. Let them make it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that deep. Let's see. Street Takeover, that, Crystal Rivera. Let's go into politics because it's a few things that I want to cover. It's actually 3 different things that I want to cover, and then we're going to go into the money right after that. All right, it's a few things that I want to talk about. The first thing that I want to talk about, because we got to talk about the Stop Nick Shirley Act. And maybe I'll shelf Greg Abbott is stopping. He freezing the money sentence that he sends to Houston. But we got to go into this Trump ceasefire. All right. Let's do this.
Welcome back. Good Monday morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. I'm Maria Bartiromo, and it is Monday, April 20th. It is 8 a.m. on the button on the East Coast, and I hope you're having a great Monday morning. We kick off the hour with the hot topic of the hour. CENTCOM releasing new video overnight of U.S. forces taking over an Iranian cargo ship after a 6-hour standoff as the ship was trying to break past the U.S.'s naval blockade. The cargo ship, called Tauska, reportedly spent much of the last year moving between China and Iran. Hundreds of commercial tankers are now stranded on each side of the strait after Iran halted traffic on the strait over the weekend, reversing course on its agreement to open it on Friday. Tehran telling shippers they must use new traffic lines and lanes along the Iranian coast. But President Trump told me in a phone call yesterday that the U.S. closed the strait with its naval blockade, and he is fully expecting an agreement signed tonight. U.S. officials are ready for a second round of talks in Pakistan tonight, but there's been no official response from Iran on the meeting. In fact, Iranian state media was suggesting that Iran might not show up at all. Mike Lee is with us this morning, along with Elizabeth Pipko. And Mike, President Trump told me every item has already been negotiated. He's fully expecting this deal to be signed tonight. And he said if they don't sign it, the U.S. is going to blow up every single power plant and bridge and more in Iran. Don't forget, Mike, that 2-week ceasefire expires this Wednesday.
So, Maria, I just saw a headline that the AP is reporting that the Iranian officials will attend tonight. It's from the Associated Press, so who knows if that's actually accurate. But I have to imagine they will. Okay, Iran has suffered over $200 billion worth of damage. We've hit over 13,000 targets in their country, to them about 17 United States targets, and all of this with the help of the latest and greatest Russian and Chinese technology. So when you hear Iran talking tough, I said it before and I'll say it again, it does give off Monty Python vibes. Like, this is merely a flesh wound. It's a bit ridiculous. And on the other side of this, are good things for Iran if they do agree to our terms. So what the Trump administration is doing is using the carrot and the stick with equal valor, because with the carrot in this situation for Iran is peace and prosperity. And I have to imagine, after the shellacking and knowing that we could permanently disable all of their energy infrastructure to the point where they'll never be able to rebuild it, if they want to pursue this nuclear platform, like, why not? Why not give your people a chance? Why not enrich yourselves the way that you have been for the last 49 years and just keep moving with peace so that the entire region can settle itself down?
Why don't he have a neck? How does that happen? Like, is that naturally born, or is that something that you develop because you work out so much, or something like that? Before we even get into this, I don't know why this type of stuff starts to, like, it's a thing for me, or I notice certain things. It's like, how is your neck the same circumference as your head? It's like head neck. And I'm not trying to diss. It's just something that I've noticed, because I notice everything. I notice stuff with, news reporters, anchors, all of that stuff. It's head neck. Is it head neck? No, it's like a muscle. It's like a muscle neck. No, am I off on that? I do. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, aside from that, so essentially, there was a ceasefire that was negotiated, obviously, with Iran and the United States. I like to say with the Trump administration, but the United States. And in that ceasefire, the strait was supposed to be open. Then Iran was reported to have fired on a vessel that was crossing over the Strait of Hormuz. And nobody knows why, because you can't negotiate it seemed like, with terrorists. And so when they fired on it, obviously the Trump administration said that they blocked it off again. And then they boarded a vessel that was trying to go through and all of this stuff. And it's like, it's so complicated. It's really complicated. And honestly, my initial thought, because Pakistan obviously is the go-between between the negotiations, and they say that every single point has been negotiated. As of tonight, the recording of this video, right? This live stream that we're doing right now. Tonight, there is supposed to be an agreement signed to end everything, which I'm anticipating stocks to blow up, and that's why we got to have a stock club very, very soon, but we're going to get to that. So there's supposed to be an agreement tonight. Why would they mess that up? Why would they even put that in jeopardy? Why would they put that in jeopardy? And I agree, it's very difficult to negotiate with terrorists. I tried to do it one time locally. I'll never do it again. But obviously, I'm not the president of the United States of America. I tried to do it with I've done it before. years ago, even with content creators. And I've talked to them and they said, yeah, man, listen, man, I apologize. It won't happen again. Man, listen, as long as I'm alive and you don't do it, I won't do it. And we could just go our own separate ways. And I said, sure. I said, now, I didn't want to let you up here. I didn't want to even, some of y'all know, don't say no names in the chat. We ain't got to get to that. I said, I didn't even want to let you up here because I don't trust you. And lo and behold, right after that, probably, I would say 2 months after that, and that taught me right there that either they're stupid, autistic, and they don't remember what they said, or they just plain lied because it sounded like a good thing to do at the time, and they couldn't help themselves, and they had to go right back into that thing because they was dusty, they wasn't getting no motion, and so they seen everybody else getting motion, and they had to do the same thing that everybody else did instead of standing on their square, right? I said, okay. So that taught me right there something that George W. Bush II, George W. Bush II taught us. As much as I hated George W. Bush, George W. Bush has a special place in my heart for animosity towards a president. And I'm so sick and tired of them trying to pretend like the things that happened that led up to them acting like it was a whole lot of stuff over there in Iraq. And I want to say it, but I'm not going to say it. I'm tired of them playing in our face, trying to act like things that happened and led up to us with George W. Bush in office wasn't a thing. Some of y'all probably wasn't even born during that time, but I was, and I was looking at it and I was paying attention, and I said, wait a minute. What? You're not going to convince me George W. has a special place in my heart and in my mind for being, shout out to Wayne. George W. has a special place in my heart and in my mind for being the worst president in my lifetime personally. And boy, I think that Joe Biden did a hell of a job of trying to unseat him. But very rarely can you ever get to the point to where you could say that a person like George W., and they tried to convince me of that. Now, I'm not going to get into it because if you know, you know. It's nothing for us to even talk about. We're not going to uncover anything different. The people that believe in it is going to believe in it, and the people that don't, they're not going to believe in it. That was so right there in front of our face. It was like, man, what? Then they said, are you smarter than the fifth grader? They came up with that show right after that. But the point that I'm making is that George W. said, we don't negotiate with terrorists. And I took that to heart. That's the only thing that I learned from George W. that I said, you know what? He's right about that. He's right about that. I love you too, Stanley. We don't negotiate with terrorists. They tried to throw a shoe at Bush's head. He said, and then he laughed at him. He said, that's what he did.
شكرا جزيلا
And then he laughed at him. Even after the first shoe, look. Then he looked at him. And then he laughed. He said, I'm all right. I'm all right. Don't worry about it. I'm all right. And he laughed at him. He thought it was hilarious. I'm all right. Don't worry about it, guys. He was still chewing gum. And then he laughed. Look at the laugh. He cracked up. This is the most gangster president that we have ever seen in our entire life. It don't get no more gangster than George W. It don't get no more gangster than George W. George W. makes any president in my life look like mincemeat. George W. and Clinton, only in the 90s and in the 2000s can you get head in the White House, lie directly to the people, and then everybody forget like you didn't say, I did not have sex with that woman. While at the same time shipping all of our jobs over to China, acting like we not giving away all of our jobs, putting in the foundation of the housing crisis, having no regulation whatsoever. And then George W. came and said, I take that and I see you times 20. And we're going to make sure that we get this popping off over here in Iraq. I take my cues from when I told Tasha K, I said the only thing that Derek Jackson did wrong was he apologized. That's what my elders told me. This is the honest to God truth. That's what my elders told me. They said, Anton, first rule of being a dictator and leadership is you never apologize. No. The what? For what? First rule in dictatorship is you don't apologize. What? Man, get on out of here with that. Ain't nobody apologizing to you for that. I did what I did. And I learned that from Clinton. Clinton said, I did not have sex with that woman. She was right up under the table, taking the whole thing. Bush put together a whole war. And we were just sitting there like, yeah. We still wear our American flags every day. We still honoring everybody with memorials. We do. We go visit New York City. We visit 9/11 site all the time, and we act like we never seen what we saw. That's what we do. If George W. can do what he did, and Clinton can do what they do, I'm gonna wait and see what happened over here in the Middle East.
Yeah, no, don't forget, the president has exhibited this maximum pressure campaign on Iran, Elizabeth, whether it's like actual warfare or economic warfare, squeezing the Iranians to the extent that they have no economy left. And so they're in a position they're going to have to give on something. And the president has said it repeatedly, no nuclear weapon for Iran.
You're completely right, Maria. He has said that since 2015 when he first jumped into the political sphere. And like Mike said, they have nothing left, right? This is a regime that has wanted to present like evil in entirety of their mission for 47 years. They have no choice left but to realize that they are up against the strongest military, the most capable military on the face of the earth. And Donald Trump, like you said, has tried everything. It started with diplomatic pressure. We've tried economic pressure. He knows that with military pressure, we are very much capable of taking them on. They know that as well. They must come to the table or they will be completely obliterated. We don't want that, almost more so than them, because they don't care about innocent civilians in Iran. Donald Trump actually does. That's why he's restrained himself so much up until this point. But something's got to give, and we only have a few hours left.
Now, there's this as well. Federal authorities arrested an Iranian woman at the Los Angeles airport over the weekend for allegedly brokering deals to sell Iranian-made drones, bombs, and weapons to the Sudanese military, Mike. This is Shamim Mafi. She's reportedly tied to the Iranian regime. She gained U.S. residency under the Obama administration in 2016. She was working on behalf of Iran. She's expected to make her initial appearance before the court today. Your reaction?
Yeah, Maria, like, it's unbelievable who's in our
Yeah. Shout out to the Nate. Somebody said something that I thought was interesting. There it is. Fran Mariah says George Bush had nothing to do with the housing market. Have you not watched the press conference? He said, you, the consumer, need to take responsibility for a loan you knew you couldn't afford. You can't be this slow. You can't be so slow to where you didn't see the finesse of how the housing market bubble was literally manufactured. Only one banker went to jail as a result of it. People got rich. People lost their families. People committed suicide. Are you going to sit here and seriously tell me that they had nothing to do? We had credit agencies, ratings agencies that was supposed to be overseen by the federal government. You know the type of money the government was making as a result of these loans? FHA, Fannie Mae, all of these things. You can't. Literally, we seen people lose everything. We seen jobs absolutely cannibalized. We oh man. You know how banks work? Just a question. Do you even know how banks work? Don't worry about it. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. They said, did you see the press conference? And he said, people need to take responsibility. Oh, man. That's crazy. Shout out to Chris Cunningham. Chris Cunningham says, you can't trust lukewarm people. Jesus didn't even trust lukewarm people. I don't trust lukewarm people. Mario says, GW, George W. slipped that shoe like a pro boxer. George W. is a savage. Probably one of the most savage presidents that we've ever seen in our entire life. All right, so let's see. We got that, and let's go over to California, man. I want to go over to California with the Stop Nick Shirley Act. Wait. Isn't that crazy? Let me see. Let me show y'all something. Right after that, and I never even seen this, I scroll over from looking at Mamdani and them, and I see Jenna Bush Hager sits down with former U.S. presidents.
So I think my message is don't give up on America. We're the longest lasting, freely elected government in history. Now,
Nobody tripping off Bill Clinton with the Epstein files, right? That's just when it swept under the rug. You see how fickle y'all are? That's why I tell people all the time, yo, if you're having a problem in your life, unless you're Anton from Anton Daniels, because my real name, I'm actually changing my name. A lot of people don't understand it. My original name is Anton Daniels. I'm actually going to file to have a name change, and it's still going to be A, except it's going to be Algorithm Daniels. So unless you're Algorithm Daniels, no matter what you're going through, in 2 weeks, there will be a completely new story and nobody will care anything about anything. As evidenced by the Epstein files and everything else that's going on, nobody cares. Now Bill Clinton is back to doing interviews and saying, you know what, no matter what, make sure you don't give up on the United States of America because we're the longest lasting power and democracy, even more than the Roman Empire. And no matter what, we're always going to be number one, America. America's number one. No matter what. 2 weeks. It's going to be a new story. It'll be a father down in Shreveport, Louisiana that takes out his kids. Vlad and Boosie will be arguing back and forth. You know how it is. NBA playoffs, football season, Iran. It'll be something else that happens and everybody else will be moving on. So don't worry about it. Make sure we're the longest lasting in 250 years.
Lasting, freely elected government in history now. And a lot of people didn't think we'd make it this long.
But we made it.
I think it'd be a good thing if we made it longer. So everybody should be thinking about that this year.
Yeah.
Do I want
to do it?
Make it longer.
Make it longer.
Because if I do, then I have to favor cooperation over constant conflict. And I have to be willing to lose as well as win.
That's right.
We're the most unique country in the world.
Oh, most unique country in the world. Because if you don't vote for me, you don't like black people.
Most unique country in the world in the sense that we really do think democracy is dictated by the rules of the Constitution.
You always talk like he's about this chief is about to fall out. And the longest lasting democracy in the country is my teeth is about to come out. I have a toothache. He talks like he got a toothache right now. Look at him. We're the longest lasting democracy in the world. And all you gotta do is talk like Biden. If you want to talk like Biden, you just keep your tongue at the top of the roof of your mouth. And you can talk just like Biden. I'm telling you, I'm teaching you guys how to imitate these guys easily. If you want to talk like Biden, keep your tongue at the top of your mouth, okay? Tongue at the top of your mouth to talk like Biden. Because it always sounds like his teeth are about to fall out and he got a toothache. And if you want to talk like Clinton, or if you want to talk like Biden, and you gotta make a voice, make it sound like it hurt. Talk like it hurts, and keep your tongue at the roof of your mouth, and you can talk just like Biden. Listen.
We do believe, and we act, and when we do well, that all men are created equal. Everyone's entitled to a shot. That everybody has a shot.
Shot.
And I think as we do that, people, as we do that, people,
make sure you keep your tongue at the top of your mouth. Sound just like the Walking Dead.
Grows instead of focusing on divisions, because we're not nearly as divided as we're being portrayed.
If we hold true to that idea that we,
Michelle, if Michelle contacts me and we hold true to the hope that was given to us, then I see no reason why democracy should, in some way, shape, or form. Michelle, what did you tell me about democracy? Malaya, Michelle, my chef, Chicago. I see no reason why Black people and brown people should not be able to come together and make sure that democracy prevails.
the people, have been gifted this chance of self-government. If we pay attention to our responsibilities and our duties,
Michelle,
and if we extend respect and thoughtfulness to our fellow citizens, even if we
I only came here for one president, and it's not Obama, it's not Clinton, and it definitely ain't Biden.
Agree with them. If we understand that part of this democratic project is to sort through our differences in peaceful, legal ways,
we'll make it through. Michelle said so.
Then I'm confident that we're going to have another 250-year run that's going to be just as good.
My message is consider yourself fortunate to be a part of a great nation.
Oh, George W. Oh, George. Buddy, let me tell you something. It's a special place down below for you, my guy. Oh, yeah, you shoe dodger.
Study our history so you have a better sense for what the future will be like.
This is why I say, do you know where I get my inspiration from, where I say I'm a C student? From George W. George W. He is the most successful C student, in my opinion, of all time. This is where I get this from. This is where my inspiration comes from. It comes directly from George W. He is the most successful C student of all time. Admittedly, if he can make it, that's where I get my, if he can make it, I can make it.
And be a citizen, not a spectator. And by that, I mean participate in the process, but also love a neighbor like you'd like to be loved yourself.
Wow.
So they.
Aw. Aw. Aw.
Nick Shirley Act.
I think you're a psycho scam artist.
They don't want to end their fraud racket. A lot of the politicians, they benefit from the.
This country decided to think about it for the first time.
However, it was only after I exposed over $100 million in fraud they actually made any arrest here inside of California. Let's say this bill gets passed. What could happen to you if you expose fraud or go and look into immigration services? Well, you could receive a $4,000 fine underneath a civil fine, a $10,000 fine if it's fraud, or go and look into immigration services. Well, you could receive a $4,000 fine underneath a civil fine, a $10,000 fine if it's criminal, and a $50,000 fine if it becomes a felony. You may also face potential imprisonment and your content be forced to be taken down. This is a complete violation of the First Amendment, as they are trying to take down and suppress your own speech, make it so you can't film in public, which is taking away your freedom of press. There's a whole lot of issues with this bill, and today we're going to be confronting those that co-authored, signed, and passed this bill. And so truly, every single day here in America, you are learning more and more about the fraud that
you're leering
that is taking place. And if you want to become a member of the Anti-Fraud Club and help me as I go, it is assemblymen who know Stop Nick Shirley Act.
So you've heard a lot of people trying to call you a liar. Why don't we just read the bill? I think that's what everybody just needs to know. So in this section of AB 2624, which we call the Stop Nick Shirley Act, it says a person, business, or association shall not publicly post or publicly display, disclose, or distribute on the internet or social media, the internet, the personal information or image of a designated immigration support service provider, employee, or volunteer if that individual or individual entity or organization authorized on the act of their behalf. And that's just some of the language.
But what does that mean? Immigration support services provider.
You're exact. See, and that is where the devil is in the details. Designated immigration support services facility means a facility where immigration support services are provided, including but not limited to nonprofit organization offices, Department of Justice recognized entities, community legal clinics, law offices, accredited representative sites that provide immigration legal services, and healthcare facilities. They threw that into designated immigration support service facilities, healthcare facilities.
And healthcare is at the very bottom of this. But that's where a lot of the fraud's taking place, inside of Medi-Cal. For instance, the hospices, the daycares are with CalWorks, but they're with anything that have to do with immigrants.
So essentially, they're saying that if you in any way, shape, or form report, highlight, talk about, or showcase the fraud that is going on in California, you can basically be fined and you could be in jail, and it could be up to a $50,000 felony. That's crazy. You know why I know that this is true? Because Elon Musk exposed it. And even Mark Zuckerberg admitted to the fact that censorship was a real thing in order to protect fraud. All the Democrat Party is a party of fraud, and I can't believe that people continue to rock with it. Now, Republicans have their own problems, and that's not to say that there isn't some fraud also happening in Republican states or in Republican spaces. But what I am saying is that the entire Democrat Party, the entire fabric of it, the foundation of what Democrats represent today, is all based off of fraud. Whether you want to talk about all of the fraud that's happening in Democrat states, and that is basically being supported by Democrat states, such as Minneapolis or California, whether you want to talk about voter fraud and voter ID, whether or not they want to continue to tell you that they're going to tax the rich while at the same time getting richer as a result of it, the entire Democrat Party is based on telling you something that isn't true in order to get your support to stay in power so that they can continue to rack up a bag at your expense, at the expense of taxpayers, at the expense of your vote, at the expense of trying to sell you on the idea that they are for you when they are for themselves. Brain Clarity finally says, what is Trump doing? Being transparent. Dave Chappelle even showed y'all that when Trump has the most famous debate in history against Hillary Clinton, when she says, well, are you taking advantage of the tax loops? And he said, absolutely. And so are all of your friends and the donors and the people that donate to your campaign that want you to stay in power. See, that's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Republicans want less government, less restriction, and there is no secret that they are for themselves. I am for myself. Of course I'm for myself. The best way for you to do what's best for the country is to do what's best for yourself. I'm for myself. Who ain't for themselves? It don't mean that I can't love my country also as a result of it. The reason that I love my country is that it allows for me to be for myself. That's the whole idea of it. You should be for yourself too. I know you for yourself. 100%, you're for yourself. Here's the difference. Not only are they cloaking it to try to make it seem like you shouldn't be for yourself, but they're going to overtax you so that they can take your money and fraud and commit fraud and support the people that's probably giving them a back channel, supporting their campaigns, and breaking them off on the top. That's all it is, bro. They want to take your tax dollars, support illegal migrants and people coming into this country, and throwing away the entire fabric of what America is at the expense of you, the taxpayer, and enriching themselves. That's all it is, bro. That's all it is. As a Democrat, why would you want more taxes? Ask yourself that question, brain clarity. Because clearly you have no clarity whatsoever. Why would anybody want more? Why would y'all vote for more taxes and you see how incompetent all local governments are with managing your resources and your finances? They have never, ever, ever, ever in history ever did the good thing, the right thing, the most efficient thing, the blessing, or whatever it is that they keep telling you that they're going to raise taxes for. Don't you know that that's all they've been doing the whole time is raising taxes all of this time, and they've never been more efficient? They just been more reckless with your money. Now they got this. Think about it. Think about it. Listen. Why would they have a Stop Nick Shirley Act? Why are they putting together and they secretly calling it the Stop Nick? That's how much they play in your face. They'll even name it after you and expect for you not to do nothing or for us to not even be paying attention to it. Why would they name it the Stop Nick Shirley? Why are they trying to prevent you from seeing what is happening with government dollars, taxpayer dollars? Why would they, of all of the things that they could be doing in California, like they don't need to solve for homelessness, like housing prices aren't too high, healthcare coverage, the fraud in healthcare coverage is basically subsidized in California, $40 billion budget deficits annually, illegal migrant crisis. You have 1,000 things that you can be doing as far as a legislative body in California. And they are drafting bills to stop you from getting information to show exactly where all of the money is going. Why would they do that?
Yes. Did you sign to pass this bill? The AB 26?
No, I don't
24?
know what you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
You do not.
No,
Are you
guys
serious?
are just talking about something.
We're talking about something random. Okay. Sasha, how are you doing? We just want to ask you about the bill AB 2624. Why would you sign off on that? It's a direct violation of the First Amendment, and it makes it harder for people to expose fraud here.
We have Ledge Council. They check the constitutionality of all our bills as we're writing them. I work on fraud issues. You'd know that if you look at some of the work I did on the budget subcommittee.
Amazing. So Mia Bonta, her husband's the Attorney General of the Attorney General of California, and it was only until I exposed fraud that they actually cracked down on the fraud and made some arrests here, especially with the hospices. And do you know that if this bill were to pass, it'd make it illegal for someone to go after fraud, especially if it's based off of immigrants, for instance, Armenians in California?
No, I think that that's a misinterpretation of the bill, but I'm happy to talk with you more about it. And fraud and investigations into fraud are something that's been happening for a very long time. The Attorney General handles those cases. This is an ongoing issue.
That the wife of the Attorney General, Mia Bonta, is now pushing this bill that literally goes against the First Amendment.
No, I actually don't. I don't think that this bill violates the First Amendment. I mean,
Really?
that's the whole purpose. We have Ledge Council and Ledge attorneys that talk with us about this. Constitutionality is really important to the work.
So your bill criminalizes publication of images recorded in public. Do you believe the government has the right to punish journalists for filming in public space?
No, I think that is a complete misinterpretation of actually the
You just read it.
No, because
piece of legislation.
That is not. That's literally what happened. Speaker Rivas, how are you doing? What do you think about the Stop Nick Shirley Act, AB 2624?
I don't know anything about it.
And do you think there's any conflict of interest there with Mia Bonta and her husband being the AG? That just shows you everything you need to know. These people won't even answer the questions. So you signed off, you're a co-author of the AB 2624 bill. What made you want to sign off on this bill that would literally make it so NGOs don't have to disclose their money?
Yeah, we'd have to go back and look at the materials from that committee hearing.
Okay, and what, for instance, just answer the question. Why does your bill apply to organizations receiving taxpayer money? Shouldn't publicly funded entities have more transparency, not less?
Restate the question?
Yes, so entities that receive money from the government, shouldn't there be more transparency and not less?
I think we want to make sure that we are being accountable to public funds.
Yes, and so you sign off on a bill that would make that harder to have transparency.
Well, I don't think I see it that way. I think that we're making sure that, all of our systems are able to get the money out to community and that there's transparency and accountability incorporated.
But you're literally signing off on a bill that would make it for less transparency, sir.
That's debatable, and I don't.
It's not debatable. They're going for immigration-based services. They're trying to make it harder for money to be disclosed.
Thanks.
Look, they just run off.
Oh,
How are you doing?
I just want to say hi. So great work. Very
Thank you.
proud of what you're doing.
And how come you think that they're just sign off on a bill that would make it harder for organizations that receive taxpayer dollars to be?
I don't agree with it. I think you're on the right track. This is an attack. It should not be. It's not right.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't move to California. I just couldn't. I couldn't move to California at all. It's just too dirty. It's too dirty. And the only people that win is the people that commit fraud in some way, shape, or form, or you got to be a government official, and that's the way that you win. If you want to be rich or you want to get rich, you just need to become a politician in California. It's too dirty. It's just much, much, much too dirty. Too dirty. Nope. And she just basically agreed. And so when they throw all of that legalese and they throw all of that extra talk or whatever, all it's just showing you is how corrupt it really is. Amazing. And apparently he talks to a bunch of other people too, and they do the same thing and they give him a runaround. So, but the people in California, y'all voted for it. And this is why I don't be feeling sorry for y'all. This is why I don't be feeling bad when y'all vote for some of the worst things that's happening in society. It's hard to feel sorry for a bunch of people that is cool with it. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Chase Barnes says, man, post pops. Chase the Alpha says, Clinton and Biden sound like Randolph. We're back. Randolph. Look what I got. Oh no, where's my pants at? I don't know where my I got on my joggers. I don't know where my the pants is that I was wearing today. Randolph. Mortimer. I'm trying to sleep. Randolph. We're back. This guy here says, what part don't the people get? Democrats obviously want dictatorship. It's so easy to see. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Couple things I want to talk about from a financial perspective. All right.
After years of anticipation, the Tesla Semi could finally be hitting the road. As early as this summer, Elon Musk says these fully electric trucks are safer, faster, and cheaper. Kelly Saberi joins us live with a much closer look. Hey there, Kelly.
Hi, Dagan. Let's start with that last word,
cheaper, DHL is going to save a lot of money. Typically, with a traditional diesel semi, to go about 500 miles here in California, with diesel being $7.66 on average, you're looking at about $520 to go that distance. But with the Tesla semi, one single charge will get you there for $275.
Tesla is also rolling out a nationwide mega charging network across North America.
DHL is already using it? Because I see they got their yellow trucks out there.
That would help us to go even beyond the 500 miles. So the truck can be charged en route, and the chargers are designed to help us charge 60% of the battery within 30 minutes.
Okay, there's a few benefits to this that the drivers are telling me they love. There are massive windows and 10 exterior cameras that give a 360 view with no blind spots. And also, this is their office. Now they don't have the vibration of the seat or the sound that a typical diesel truck would make. Plus, they're no longer taking in the fumes that they would be sitting all day driving for up to 11 hours taking in. Listen to this.
It turns heads. It turns heads quite a bit. Actually, sometimes it slows traffic down. All right, when I'm stopped, I have people just constantly taking pictures.
DHL's goal is to have all of their heavy-duty fleet all electric by the year, 30% of their heavy-duty fleet all electric by the year 2030. Now, this truck is about 50% more expensive than a typical diesel truck would be. That this is about $300,000, but they tell me that with the no fuel part of this and less maintenance, they think this all makes up for it.
I was listening to Jay Leno. I was looking at Jay Leno's garage, and he was actually driving this. And I remembered it when this was announced, like 5 years or something like that.
This is the new Tesla Semi. This is the long-range 500-mile model.
Putting the driver in the middle of the cab so we could actually have rounder front face and narrower upper portion of the cab, just so we can be slicker.
Somebody said, are these autonomous trucks? They are. So they have the ability for autonomy, but because of certain laws in certain states, you have to have a driver behind it, right? Because they haven't actually released that capability. It's available, and that's why we use our Teslas all the time. So right now, I'm driving my Cybertruck, right? I've been driving my Cybertruck for the last, 3 or 4 days or something like that. And it's so amazing because I'm a fan of all vehicles. I'm a fan of Teslas. I'm a fan of electrics. I'm a fan of gas motors. I'm a fan of the 5.7 liter, the 6.2 liter that Chrysler's putting out. I'm a fan of the twin turbo V6 that Ford uses for a lot of his vehicles. I'm a fan of the 5 liter that Ford uses. I'm a fan of all different types of cars and vehicles. And I will tell you that being away from it for a little bit and not driving it actually helped me to realize how awesome that thing is. I don't stop at gas stations. Never. I drive the entire week on a full charge, and I have no problems whatsoever. If I am a person that is just local, right? Meaning that I'm trying to do whatever it is that I'm trying to do locally, I will always probably have an electric vehicle. There will never be a time that I don't have an electric vehicle. I loved my Taycan. I love the Cybertruck. I love the model. What was it? A model, I don't know, whatever the one that before, right? What is it? The Model 3? Not the Model 3. It was the Model Y. I had a Model Y, right? I love them all. It is an incredible vehicle. Incredible vehicle. And I love the fact that, I can get to and from. It got steer by wire. Steer by wire makes it turn the turn radius is better than a car. And so I just love it, bro. I love everything about it. It's an engineering masterpiece. Anybody that has been in it, anybody that has driven it, understanding it, it's an engineering marvel and masterpiece. It's one of the best things ever. But I also like the choice to go and get a twin turbo V8 from the Lamborghini dealership. I also love my Navigator. I also love the Challenger. I also love the Porsche, the flat six. I love it all, bro. The turbo flat six, it's just dope. And so, I like all of these different types of vehicles. As far as this one is concerned, yes, the autonomy is there, but they are developing that for future use. Most of the time, most legislative branches, it take them longer to actually adapt to the ways of the world. The legislation aspect part of it, even when it comes to AI, even when it comes to electric vehicles, when you see these Waymos getting released and you see these robo-taxis and stuff, legislation is usually about 3, 4 to 5 years behind the actual technology itself hitting the road, because we got a slow legislative process, right? And so even though these trucks are going to be serving a huge change, I will also tell you that what they are also trying to do is become less dependent on drivers too. And that's where the autonomy is going to come in. Right now, you're going to have to still be behind the wheel. You're going to still have to do whatever it is that you got to do. But the autonomous aspect part of it, it's going to be, okay, first you got to stay in it. And then I believe that maybe 5 to 10 years down the road, it's going to be more than just savings. And they're going to want to be able to deploy these vehicles without having to worry about somebody being in them. Uncle Tom Talk says, enjoy your subscription-based vehicles. Most of the new vehicles, whether they gas or electric, is subscription-based vehicles. And you don't have to subscribe to it. You don't have to get full FSD, right? A lot of the features that's inside of the BMWs, a lot of the features that's inside of GM vehicles have a subscription if you want the full thing of what's available. It's just, listen. I see some of y'all said taking jobs or whatever. The goal of a company is not to try to keep you employed. The goal of a company is to increase value for shareholders. The minute that you figure that out, the minute that you stop complaining and you start adapting. OnStar is probably 25 years old. They had OnStar forever. That is true. But your car, I'm pretty sure that they're solving for that. So I'm not worried about that. The point that I'm making is that people have to get with the times and they have to adapt. They have to get with the, you know what? Somebody says subscription-based vehicles. That's all y'all do when y'all finance. That's all you doing when you leasing. You're going to get a vehicle back. You paying a car note for the opportunity to drive it at that moment. Y'all, people are so funny to me, how they compartmentalize and then how they're able to justify why they can do it one way, but why it doesn't make sense in another way. What you think you're doing already? You're not doing nothing different than the thing that you're complaining about. You're doing the same thing already. Most of these people are not paying off their cars, or if they do, they trade it in for another car note. So what's the difference? You've been doing it your entire life. Your entire life, financing has been available. That's one of the things that actually prevented older people from suffering from higher costs. You want to know why y'all costs are so high? Because you're a financer. Everything you do is finance. Everything you do, it got interest attached to it. That's why your living costs are so much higher. Back in the day, they actually had to save up and just buy the car. They didn't have financing when they was manufacturing some of these cars. You saved up, you stayed with your parents, you hustle hard, and then you finally bought your car. Or you was in the military, and then when you got back, you bought you a new Mustang. That's how they bought their cars. That's how they was able to do it. That's how they saved their money, is that they actually paid cash. And the banks figured out, hey, we can sell way more vehicles. We can put up way more houses if we actually charge you an interest rate and then market to you through social circles, because they did have social marketing, and then we can market to you a 30-year mortgage. That's why people, when they think about buying a house, they automatically think, okay, I got to get a flat rate 30-year mortgage. That wasn't normal. You didn't go and get a 30-year mortgage. As a matter of fact, you had a 16% interest rate. if you wanted to finance a house. 16% interest rates. What you think you're doing with your phones? Some of y'all are actually financing your phones. You finance your phones. Some of y'all phone bills, I seen somebody phone bill and they say, yeah, man, my phone bill is like $375. I said, for what? Because they had multiple different phones. Because they was paying they actual phone bill, and they was paying for the phone, and they was paying for insurance, and they was paying for everything else. Y'all costs are crazy. When they say, man, the cost of living is high, how come y'all don't factor in that you had to go put 25 cents in a payphone in order to make a phone call? You know what that prevented people from doing? Making extra calls and talking too long. And so that, hey, say anything that you got to say to me because I ain't going to talk to you until I get back home from work. Wasn't no having AirPods in that you financing. Wasn't no earbuds in. That's why they was way more social. Because when I left for work, and then I'm going to see you in 8 to 10 hours when I get home. It wasn't no, hey, why you not answering your phone? Why you not texting me back? Oh, that's why I don't text. I'm old school. I don't text. Not really. Not really. These are going to create a space that is going to be a lot more efficient for people and companies to run up a bag and to not have to deal with all of the gas prices. Y'all lives is crazy. Y'all expenses is insane.
Through the air. We cut about 1,000 pounds out of the truck. And this long-range truck, the 500-mile version, is about on par, and in part because it's got a 2,000-pound weight exemption that electric vehicles have. This truck can charge at 1.2 megawatts, so we can recover about 60% in 30 minutes.
That from the very beginning and made some really unique architectural design ideas, like putting the driver.
That's sweet to have it in the middle of the cab, sitting in the middle of the cab.
Driver in the middle of the cab, so we could actually have rounder front face and narrower.
Oh, they got back seats in there in that joint too.
Upper portion of the cab, just so we could be slicker through the air, right, as we get back to the trailer. And you know, if you remember when we debuted this semi years back.
Oh, this trailer?
Yeah.
So you just keep going, and then you'll feel it when it goes in. Keep going. There we go. Now give it a little throttle.
I don't even feel like I'm pulling anything.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You know, we're pushing a good load back there, 60, 70,000 pounds gross vehicle weight, and you're not feeling it.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy, bro. It's going to be a different time. And so I think that 10 years from now, everything is going to be completely different. And you're just going to have to adapt. Hey, shout out to the truck drivers, bro. Shout out to the truck drivers. Shout out to everybody with their CDL. You guys go supremely underappreciated. Y'all be living on the road. Y'all be having y'all lot lizards. Listen, let them have a little bit of lot lizards. These people are pulling all of the loads across America. You know what I'm saying? They pulling all of the loads across America. They running up the bag. Shout out to everybody that live on the road, all of my CDL drivers, all of those type of people. Y'all are underappreciated. And so what? You have a little bit of somebody whose knees is a little dirty, bottom of their feet a little dirty, getting into the cab. Excuse me, can I get some help? What's wrong, miss? I'm just looking for a little bit of fun. Where you come from? It ain't no houses around here, ain't no highway, ain't none of that. It's only this truck stop. I know I'm looking for a ride. Can I get to my next destination? Or where you trying to drive to? What you trying to ride? That's what she hit you with. Though. First couple times, you was like, man, I ain't messing around with these little chicks, man. These big chicks get on my nerve. And the second time, you got a little weaker. Third time, you got a little weaker. By the time that you got to the fourth one, you was like, man, I wonder what do these the guys even be doing, man? I'm just gonna see. That's how it starts. It's curiosity. Curiosity kills the cat. Man, I just want to see, man. Let me just see what they charging. Because these chicks is crazy out here, bro. They crazy. Hey, mister, can I get a ride? I don't know, miss. Where you going? You nervous the first time? You nervous the first time? Just so happen to have just enough cash. You know what I'm saying? I just want to see what they charging because I know these dudes ain't out here paying for no lot lizards. What you charge, ma'am? Depends on what you want. And then you try to play it off a little bit. Man, it's cold outside. Get in here so we can talk. Let's come in so you can talk. Because I don't want you standing out there all cold. Somebody said nasty lot lizards. What y'all think that some of these guys that's riding around in these trucks is the model of cleanliness? They are what they attract. Chad said $200 for the 4 hour, $150 for a half hour, 100 QV. Don't ask me how I know. Wow. Wow. No, man, let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you something. If a lot lizard, I would rather take a nap. I would rather go to sleep and take a nap than to suffer. I just can't do it, bro. I can't do it. Anytime that I'm feeling confused about my situation, or I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling like doing something that's uncharacteristic. That's what I do. I take a nap. I literally just take a nap. Taking naps solve for so many problems in life, bro. You have no clue how much money, time, your legacy, freedom that you will save by taking a nap, bro. Taking a nap save lives. It get rid of the boxelitis. It get rid of the anxiousness. It get rid of the anger. I'm keeping it 100 with y'all. That's my secret weapon. Anytime I get really, really upset and I feel like I feel like crashing out, I lay down and take a nap. I wake up feeling so good and refreshed. I don't have no anger in my body. I'm nimble. I'm feeling good. You know what? Man, let them live, man. Ain't nobody tripping off that. Let the old man make it. We ain't tripping off that. Your boxelitis start flaring up, go take a nap. I'm gonna give you guys that's in a relationship a clue, and then we're gonna go over to the next subject. For those of y'all that's in a relationship, women will try to weaponize the box. How do you get to the point to where you're not tripping over it? Because some of y'all are controlled by the box, and that's the way they get y'all. That's how she manipulates you. That's why she always tripping out on you. That's how she knows that she gonna take advantage of you or whatever. How do you get yourself to the point? Remember I was telling y'all at work how y'all be getting caught up with the boxelitis and getting caught up with chicks on your lunch break or whatever. You know what you need to start doing? You know what I would do on my lunch break? Let me show you what I did on my lunch break. Hold on. I got you. Hey, where time go? This is Anton on lunch. This is me on lunch break. Coming back refreshed, renewed. I got my second win for the day. And see, here's the thing about taking naps, especially on lunch breaks. The thing about taking naps on lunch break, is that your body starts to adjust to it. And so what will happen now is around lunchtime every day, oh man, must be lunchtime. Start looking at your watch. You start preparing, shutting down the computer, cleaning off your desk, because you got to maximize every minute. Every minute counts. I could be out in the parking lot within 2 to 3 minutes. I could be curled up in my nap in the fetal position. The seat is already prepared to lay back. And my alarm is already set on my phone to wake me up. I got 2 alarms, one just in case I hit the snooze. The second one is back to back. Within 3 minutes, I'm already in the fetal position. Ain't nobody about to be sitting here. Let me see. Box on a lunch break or nap. I take nap all day long. Not only am I going to preserve my money, everybody else be all dragging on the second half of the day. I'm all good. Woo! Let's get it. That's the key. That is the key. No, I got Shure mics. Well, this is the fat Shure mic, and then I got a bunch of other Shure mics around here too. I got the highest quality mics and everything. But anyways, we good. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats. 1080 says, when I was trucking, I hated Cali, the whole state. I hear that from a lot of people. I hear people that say they hate Cali and they hate New York. I don't know why that is. Come on, Corn Pop. If the shoe fits, get on that horse, ride it turn your back on race, lock up kids, let in Coco and immigrants, terror paid off presidents. You see the new Cayenne electric SUV? I do. I don't think that the Cayennes, I got a Cayenne. I usually buy those for the girls. The girls like the Cayenne. But I think that she's probably gonna want the new G-Wagon coming out, to be honest with you. Let me see. Ooh, love you, babe. Before I get to the next story, let me just see something. Oh. Yeah, I seen this new C-Class too, but that's not what we're looking for. Oh, my dolls. Nah, we're gonna go World of G-Class. These sites are not as friendly as I would want them to be. Yeah. Jesus. None? What is going on here? Mercedes-Benz G-Class, view inventory. 18221. Let's just do that. Electric. Yeah, I think that's what they want. Oh. It's a lot of money, bro. It's a lot of money. Interesting. Anyways, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. It's a lot of money, man. Get the new F8. It's only one car. What up, though, Kim and I? It's only one car that I'm focused on right now. I'm not really checking for. Somebody said the car is mid, but yeah, see, here's the thing. When women say that they want stuff, you don't really argue back and forth with them. When they say they want something, I had to learn that the hard way too. When women say that they want something, just be like, all right, cool. It's what I found is that when you have women in your life, it's easier to make it happen than to go back and forth and argue back and forth and all of that other stuff. It's almost like, all right, cool. Listen, if I get you what you want, I know you're gonna shut up for like however long you're gonna shut up, and you're not gonna bother me, and then I can go off and do whatever it is that I want to do and what I gotta do. I don't want to. I don't want to deal with all of that. Oh man, because then you gonna get her what you think is best for her, and then she gonna be sitting there. I love it. Oh my God, but I kind of want it. And it's just like, you know what? When you get them what they want, when they say, ooh, and they're not gonna always say it. They're gonna say, man, I really like that. That's that. You know what? If I had any car to get, this would be at the top of my list. So then I just be like, all right, cool. When it's time to, get the new thing, Here you go. Oh my God, I love you so much. You know what? That's why you could do whatever you want, you the king or whatever, because you just always just know what I'm thinking. And I'd be like, cool. And next thing you know, I'm off doing whatever it is that I got to do. I ain't got to worry about none of this other stuff. And I'm just chilling. I don't argue. I ain't going back and forth. I'll be like, oh yeah, what's on your mind? You know, I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, babe. Yeah, just go ahead. Have a good time. I can always get some more money. I can always go and run up a bag. I can always go and take care of business or whatever. I'm not about to sit here and be going back and forth and all of this stuff. I'm just like, okay, cool. Compliance, no issues, no whining, don't bother me. They don't be nagging, they don't do none of that stuff. The only thing that they do is have all of the clothes ironed, house be clean, bed be made up, naked in the bed, and I'm just like, all right, cool. Whenever I get ready and whenever it's at my convenience, call me. They don't say, hey, where you at? They say, hey, I'm just calling to check on you. Let me know if you need anything. All right, cool. And then I'm out. Oh, okay. Y'all want me to talk about Vlad and Boosie? All right, let's talk about Vlad and Boosie. Bad and Boosie. Vlad and Boosie. Bad and Bougie. About talk about Vlad and Boosie. Let me see. Vlad. Boosie. Vlad. TV. Boosie. Y'all like that talk? Y'all like the talk where I talk about talking about the women? Trying to find the original Boosie Bad Eye. And maybe I can get it on this. You always can get it on X. X always has everything. Boosie. What's wrong with X? Boosie. Oh, they got Boosie messed up on X, huh? All right, let's see what he's talking about. Oh, that ain't it.
Bruh, motherfuckers mad at the love I get, bro. I'm telling you. They like, how we gonna stop this nigga? Like, bruh, like, you can get 5, 6 of all. Man, I'm happy as a motherfucker right now. I just saw my clips of my DJ Academy. You know you don't fuck with me. You know you ain't Vlad like this, man. You already know that. Anything I got going on when I come on social media, you go against you. Whatever it is with Boosie, you go against me. You're a silent. You trying to be a silent assassin to me.
Why you call him DJ Academy as DJ Academics?
It's all good, man. You're a podcaster, and that's your dog, so you're supposed to roll with your dog. Man. I get it. I get it, bro. And one more thing. Envy, you know why I ain't got the fucking numbers on the platform? Because these billionaires always take my platform. You had them on your show. You know. You know why. Official Boosie had 13 million 6 years ago, 7 years ago. What would I have now? Whole world trying to get me to turn on this nigga. I don't turn on nobody. But you know how many rappers then call me? Why you fuck with him? He send niggas to jail. Woo-doo. Dude ain't getting nobody like that. Y'all getting y'all ass locked up.
All right, so we got the general idea. Boosie wanted more money for an interview. They saying that he wanted at least $30,000 to $35,000 for an interview. And then Vlad responded. And so let me know if y'all can hear this. I'm going to play Vlad's response as a result of it. I can't actually show it. I just got to play the audio. Hold on.
Me and you were connected through Boosie. And Boosie is one of my favorite interviewees that you've had on your platform. I'm watching every time it drops. And I'm now hearing that he's going up in price. He may be moving away from Vlad TV. What are your comments on this situation?
Well, look, me and Boosie, our business relationship goes back 20 years. Before Vlad TV, when I was doing DVDs and I was holding the camera and going to Atlantic Records and filming him and Webby, and we'll show a little clip of that. It'll show how far we really go back.
You ever run into any of the cats that bit off you?
Nah, we ain't ran into
years. So some time had passed. It was, I don't know, about 6, 7, 8 months since our last interview. So I just hit him up one day, a couple of weeks ago, and we had a conversation. And this conversation was a private business conversation, but Boosie recently did a live where he revealed parts of this conversation. And in his live, he said that he had asked for $5,000 more, and I said no, which is why he's not going to do the interview.
I wanted $5,000 more than he wanted to pay me. He didn't want to pay me, so I think I'm gonna make more money doing it this way. And I'm editing my interview now.
Now, that's not exactly accurate. So, I wasn't going to put any of this out there, but because he started putting out numbers out there and people started going, oh, Vlad being cheap, why is it only 5,000? You could pay him that, not knowing the whole picture. So I'm going to lay out the whole picture for everyone just to explain what exactly is going on. So when I called Boosie, like I said, the fee had always been $25,000. He said, I want $40,000. And I'm like,
let me tell you, I'm gonna have a different conversation about this. And I know everybody been talking about it, but I'm gonna put a completely different spin on it because I actually am a content creator that knows how much money you make off of an interview, depending on how you chop it up, right? And so you're going to get the real insight from me. That's the difference between everybody else and Anton from AntonDaniels.com, is because I can actually speak to it because I have paid for interviews before, right? That is the difference. Everybody else can speculate, oh man, he should get this, or he should be happy about that. He shouldn't be happy about this. And I don't have to speculate. I know what these rappers get. I know what these people get. I know all of that type of stuff. And so I don't look at it from the same lens as everybody else. All right. Let me play a little bit more and then I'm gonna come back and break it down for y'all.
Like, fam, I can't do 40,000. That's just putting me in the hole in a situation like this. He's like, well, I'll go as low as 35. And I'm like, man, listen, I might be able to do 30 after I run the numbers, but 35 is definitely out of the question. But let me go ahead and run my numbers and actually see what's going on. So I went back and I looked through the last, 5 or 6 interviews, and I looked, and the profit margin on each of these interviews was around $10,000. So I showed him the numbers. I sent him a spreadsheet showing him my back end numbers. And I'm like, bro, The most I could do is 25. You're asking for 35. Your traffic has been dipping over the years. You've gone from about 6 million to about 5.5 to about 5 and some change. So you're looking at about maybe a 10, 15% decrease in views, which means a 10 to 15% decrease in revenue, as you know, but you're asking for a 40% increase in appearance fee.
All right, so let me break this down. All right. First and foremost, all content is not created equal. Your CPMs, the amount of revenue that you make will not be the same depending on the type of content that you put out. So essentially, what Vlad is saying is that he was making about 10,000 more than whatever he was paying Boosie. So let's say, for example, Vlad does an interview and he pays Boosie $25K. But then you also got to take out whatever additional costs, travel, hotel, accommodations, all of that stuff. All of this stuff is a bit, and see, this is why I tell people a lot of times, they say, oh man, you just, no, we run a business. We have to do the cost benefit analysis if it's going to be profitable, because they're going to get their money up front, right? When you do an interview with somebody, and let's say you pay somebody for an interview, they're going to get their money up front. They don't have any risk involved. So you as a platform are taking on all the risks, right? You got to edit it. And if you got a staff and you got money, you got to take that into consideration. You got to make sure that it's monetized properly. You got to make sure that you chop it up properly. You got to make sure whatever it is that you do, right? I'm not going to give you all of the clues, because then you need to join the Patreon, because I do whole content creation live streams to show y'all how to monetize it and why I make more than the majority of your favorite YouTubers. But my point is that you're taking out all the risks, right? So you're giving them that money. You also probably got to fly them in. You also, and I don't know how they got their stuff structured, but essentially they come in, they do an interview and they leave. Now, I'm not going to talk about numbers about the people that I've interviewed before, because I don't do that. I don't tell how much people make. I don't tell how much people make my fellow content creators that I live stream with on Room 9. I don't talk about how much if I pay, because I don't always have to pay for an interview. I don't talk about any of that type of stuff, because that's their business and that's how you do good business. I think that Vlad and Boosie right now is being messy, actually throwing numbers out there. But since they threw the numbers out there, let's talk about the numbers, right? So Vlad is saying that he's making $35,000 per interview. Boosie saying that he makes 25, but he wants 40. Part of the reason why Boosie wants 40 is because he's seen Tekashi 6ix9ine get 50. But again, it has to be based off of your ability to do numbers. Now, Vlad has a very interesting business model. Vlad monetizes his content in a multitude of different ways, but I'm only going to talk about two. The first one is dropping a full interview. The second one is chopping it up into 100 different clips. So Vlad will do 100 3-minute, 4-minute, 5-minute different clips, sometimes a little bit longer, depending on whatever it is. And that's how he makes his money. He's going to chop it up into 1,000,000 clips. And then eventually he's going to release the full episode. And he's going to release the full episode after he made it available to only his members and all of that stuff, right? So that is how Vlad is going to try to monetize and get his money on the back end. Now, I will also say this. The reason why Vlad can afford to pay 25, 30, 40, whatever it is that he got to pay is, number one, and this is what I told y'all a long time ago, these interviewing platforms had become dependent on other people in order to create content. I never wanted to be stuck in that hole. My whole thing was, I am the platform, I am the content, and occasionally I'll interview people to bring more visibility to the platform, but I'm not going to ever become dependent on other people, because at some point they can do a Boosie to you and say, hey, I want 40 instead of doing 25, right? Then what you going to do? Because you're not the draw. Nobody came to see you. They came to see them instead of using them to create a bigger platform, right? Now you are dependent on other people coming to interview in order to create content. I never wanted to get pigeonholed into that. And I actually see Say Cheese TV. He started pivoting into like he not going away from, it looks like he's not going away from ever doing interviews, right? Because he makes a lot of money doing interviews. But he started to create the Sean Cotton channel and all of this to where he could just talk about what he wanted to talk about, and he diversifies content instead of depending on just interviewees and hoping that the interviews hit in order for them to be able to, run up a bag, right? So that's A. The second part of this whole thing is every platform is not created equal. Vlad has a huge subscriber base and he has motion in the algorithm because of the fact that he has a decent sized platform and he has a back catalog that still generates revenue, right? When Vlad put out a Boosie interview, it's going to hit different than if this new person that got 1,000 subscribers put out a Boosie interview. So if Vlad can make 35, the new person may make 5 tops. So when somebody says, oh, I'm charging this or I'm charging that, every platform is not created equal because every platform don't have the motion to do 5 million views total between all of the clips and the main interview. And then all of the rest of the ways you can monetize it. Everybody not going to make that money. Everybody not going to get a bag like that. Right? I may be able to bring somebody on the platform and we're going to do numbers. This other person may be able to bring that same platform on there and they may not be able to do the same numbers. They don't know how to monetize the same way. They don't have the audience to be able to capture it the same way, right? Vlad and Boosie gonna pop up in your algorithm. That's not gonna pop up in your algorithm, and you're hoping that their name being in the title is going to try to get more people to watch your content. So I tell people it's 2 different types of content, right? And again, you need to tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Matter of fact, I'll do a whole live stream on interviewing, and I'll break it down much more extensively so that y'all, as content creators, will be able to understand whether you should jump on panels, whether you should do interviews, what the benefits and the drawbacks are from it. But this is why I say, just because you're a content creator don't mean that you know how to make money. It don't mean that you look at it from a business perspective. It don't mean that you understand the mindset behind what it takes to be successful, and you don't know how to monetize the proper way to where it'll actually benefit you. Somebody said, AD, you a smart man with a smart team backing you up. What do you mean? The people that are hired? So let's start there. Let's hear a little bit more of what Vlad is talking about, and then I'm gonna break the rest of this down.
A 40% increase. It doesn't make any business sense because what'll end up happening is, look, Boosie's already at home, right? He wakes up, he does the interview. There's no cost associated with him, and he was getting paid $25,000. I have to fly because I don't have a studio or a camera crew in Georgia, in Atlanta, so I have to hire a camera crew in Atlanta. I have to fly from LA to Atlanta. I have to get a hotel. I have to have all the costs associated with it. And then afterwards, I have to pay to get the video edited and pay my crew and everything else like that. And as you know, with YouTube, I'm taking all the risk because sometimes videos get demonetized.
That's true.
Right? Especially when you talk about someone like a Boosie who has, he swears, he's talking about a lot of edgy stuff. And at the end of the day, I'm taking 100% of the risk. So I'm like, listen, I cannot pay you $35,000.
And that's also the risk of starting to pay people, because a lot of people, Vlad built this platform on the backs of people that was looking for visibility, and it worked for both people. You got visibility for going on Vlad. Vlad made money as a result of doing the interview, and so it's a win-win for everybody because now you got more visibility. You know what I'm saying? But that only worked for people that don't have motion or for people that need the visibility. Once you got motion, if that's not your primary source of income, then that's when you start charging, right? Because if you don't need the visibility, if you're not promoting the project, you're not trying to get visibility. Like if you notice, whenever somebody drops an album or a movie, they go on a press run. That means they're trying to get the word out. They're trying to convince people to go and see their movie. They're trying to convince people to go and buy their album, listen to the album, string it, or whatever. If you don't have nothing going on and you just talking for the sake of talking, what you talking about if you're not learning how to make money?
When I'm going to make nothing, or maybe I'm even going to take a loss. And Boosie was like, yo, you're being cheap. And I said, I'm not being cheap. I'm being put in a situation where you make all the money and I make none of the money. It simply doesn't make any business sense.
Nicholas says, can you get Boosie on your platform? Me and my mans, I told this story before, me and my mans, this probably less than a month ago or something. I forgot what was going on. It was something that was happening in Detroit. Clarissa Shields fight. It was a Clarissa Shields fight. Everybody was in the city. Everybody was popping. I mean, everybody was in the city, right? Pap ran into him, ran into Mike Epps, ran into a lot of people. We ran into Boosie at the dice table. My man's asked him, and he said, hey, man, you know, how much for an interview? I will tell you that he told me the exact same prices. I mean, since they already throwing the prices out there, he told me the same prices as he told Vlad. So he not being inconsistent. I'm going to keep it 100 and keeping it a bean. He's not being inconsistent. Unless you Leonardo DiCaprio, Morgan Freeman, Dave Chappelle, Trump, me personally, I can't see shelling out that type of. If I pay somebody $40K, right? And this is just me. I'm not even looking at it from a business perspective. Vlad and them may be doing it to make money. I'm doing it because I just want to have this interview in my, even if I never release it, I want to have this in my archive because it's just an iconic moment, right? It's something that's meaningful. It's something that's happening. I have some people on my grill list that I may reach out to at some point. And if I ever even get remotely close to that type of number, it ain't even for the money. It's because I just truly want to have this. I think that this is a unique interview and I just need, you know what I'm saying? I just want to have this. And so when I release it, it's more or less for credibility than it is for money. It's not a monetization thing. This is a money thing. And I said that a long time ago. And I said, any people that I interview at this point, that's why I don't even care about doing interviews no more. If I got me and Charleston, we connected in May. And then I got a couple other people that I'm connected with. At this point, if I interview you, it's because I truly want to interview you. It ain't because I'm actually looking at it as a monetization strategy. We already make way more money than most of these other platforms without needing anybody, right? This adds to my credibility. This is when I did Brian McKnight's interview, is because Brian was interested in getting he felt like it was time to tell his story. And he felt like I was credible enough to interview him, ask the questions, and tell his story authentically without editing his words out to make me look better or something like that, right? It was an organic, that's an actual real friend of mine. We talk on a regular basis. So when I do an interview, it's because I want to. It's not because I have to or I'm looking to whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know who Myron Golden is. And that's the difference. They doing it, and it's a good business model. It's worked out well for them. They doing it for the business, on the business side of it. I'm doing it because it means something to me. And that's now. That's not back then, that's now.
Well, let me ask you, what was it that caused the price hike? Because I feel like it would be more understandable if he just beat a major case or if something significant happened. And you know what I mean? Like sometimes we see rappers go through crazy.
Yeah, I got stuff in the archives. Of course I got stuff in the archives. Why wouldn't I have stuff in the archives? I have interviews that I've done in the archives. Absolutely. 100%. Just real. Keep it 100.
Crazy things, and everybody wants that breaking story. What was it that you think caused this to come about?
I don't know. I know Sean Cotton, me and Sean actually had a conversation about this yesterday. He had put out a video where he said that he had heard from someone that Boosie was upset because I had mentioned that I paid Tekashi more than I'd ever paid anyone else. And that might be the reason. I've never actually asked Boosie to confirm this, but if that is true, you guys have to understand, Tekashi brought in like 20 million views. It was the biggest interview of 2025. It was the biggest meme of 2025. The whole I stole that shit.
Stole that shit. That's what I do, nigga.
I got Charleston White interviews. I got Jason Wilson interviews. I got all kind of interviews. I got interviews that I just like to watch just for me. Like I got interviews that I never put out, stuff that I've never put out before.
Being used. There's a Trump version.
Stole that shit. That's what I do, nigga.
Huge interview. And for that particular interview, yes, I paid more than I've paid anyone else, but that was a one-off. The other Tekashi interviews were not, that same price, right? Because they didn't get those same type of views. I've paid Boosie way more than I paid Tekashi. Way more.
And not only that, it doesn't seem like Tekashi is that consistent versus Boosie is more of a recurring guest.
Yeah.
And I hope that Boosie, I don't wish, whatever direction he chooses to go, but I hope he realizes the power and the dynamic that you two have. Because both of you mesh very well, and it's the presentation entirely that makes it what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think me and Boosie play off each other very well. So Boosie went on live. Like I said, I wasn't going to say any of this. This was just going to be a private conversation between me and Boosie. And if people ever asked, I'd be like, oh, well, me and Boosie just busy. And, at some point we might hook up or not. It is what it is. That's my man. But he decided to make a video. And in the video, he said, I'm going to do the interview myself. And I'm going to have my kids interview me. And I think I'll make more money this way. And I'm actually glad that Boosie is going that direction because he'll get to see for the first time how much money is actually made.
Yeah, it's a lot more work and it's a lot more risk by trying to do it yourself. Anton, would you interview Tekashi 6ix9ine? Yeah, I think that some people you will see, like I have some really classic interviews, man. I will never take down Fleece Johnson. I will never take down Fleece Johnson. That was I was the first person to interview Fleece Johnson. And no matter how people feel about it, it was a great interview, and it was historic, and we did great. Brian McKnight's interview was awesome. It was absolutely incredible. Do I think that I can get Shaq? Yeah, absolutely. I can get Shaq. Absolutely, I can get Shaq. Somebody says, do you make more because of super chats? I make more money on the Anton Daniels channel, but I don't even go live on that. I make more money from pre-recorded content than I do from actually going live. I make the least amount of money actually going live. I make way more money on pre-recorded content. And like I said, all content isn't created equal. CPMs is different depending on the type of subject that you're talking about. So it's a lot more, it's a lot different. I'm not going to go into all of that. But it is a lot different. So David has been charged with first-degree murder. All right, well, we'll talk about that tomorrow. And then sometimes you do interviews just because it brings more visibility. But, that's a whole nother conversation. But, yeah, man, it's an interesting dynamic. I wouldn't want to be in the business where my entire platform is paying people for interviews. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with, and I just wouldn't want to deal with. I wouldn't want to deal with it. So, but Anton, what's your thoughts on content creators going over to Tubi? Go get a Tubi bag. For me, YouTube is the holy grail. Like whatever I do in addition to YouTube, cool. But I'm always gonna be leaning more into YouTube. And I told people that before. They all ran over to TikTok. Nick, TikTok, you can build clip platforms fast, and they paying the bag. Yeah, I got some money off TikTok too, but now everybody is whining and saying, ain't no more money on TikTok. They not paying no more. They done with all of their incentives. That's your fault. You should have built a long form platform. But building a long form platform is 10 times harder, 20 times harder than getting popping on Instagram and getting popping on Tubi or getting popping on TikTok or Facebook. Is way more, is if you know the business, then the business is going to do what it do. But long form content is hard. It is harder than people will ever believe in their entire life. It is very difficult to be able to build a long-term platform. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be in a position to where I can put my homies on. We can stream together on Room 9 after hours, that I can, pilot a platform to where hopefully I'm able to build an entire network. I'm very blessed to where I don't have to worry about money as much as everybody else, because I can spend money on experimenting on new ways to be able to run up a bag, and I can focus on, paying people and helping to put them on and helping to do all of that other stuff. So yep. I can't give 40,000. I can't do it. Nope. I mean, and get your money. Get your money, Kings. Long Way ENT says, which Michigan plate are you using for the Lambo? I don't know. I got to get it first. I need to call.
Hey, Anton, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Mark?
Hey, wait for the warm weather to show up.
Yep. I understand. You in the office today?
Yeah.
All right. You told me a week. What am I looking at?
The car's probably going to be here right around. We're trying to get clarification from Lamborghini, right? So we had two cars on the same boat. They shipped one of the cars with a couple of Bentleys that we had coming in, and the other car, we're still waiting on it for it to arrive, so it should be here anytime.
Oh, okay. Well, just call me.
Okay.
Because I was. You said am I who?
I said, are you back in town? I thought you were out of the country till the end of the month.
Well, I fly out on Wednesday. Oh. And then I come back at the end of the month. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll be back. I fly back. I come back on Sunday. So okay. I'll be here early next week.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, my friend. Just touching base with you.
All right.
All right.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye. There you go. There you go. So I don't know what plate I'm gonna be using. I don't know. You know what? I'm not gonna talk no more about it. Even when I get it, I don't think I'm gonna vlog it. I don't think I'm gonna do none of that stuff. I'm gonna just stay real low key with it. I'm just staying out the way. I'm staying out the way. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm chilling. Not on a public platform, anyways. Maybe in the Patreon. Maybe in the Patreon, but what type of lamb? It's the new Temerario. So, all right, I'm done. No more chilling. No more. You won't hear anything else about a lamb going forward. I'm done. King DJ Trick says, when people say there is no money in content creation, I always say there's no money in content creation for you. Also, 25K an interview is great, but it's Vlad's fault. Street ninjas have low IQ. King DJ Tricks also says contacted Charleston to do an interview and he charged $10K. I think he is worth $10K to bring ads to my channel on my brand. Vlad doesn't sell ad space on his socials. AD gets brand deals. If you can get Charleston for 10, then get him. ASAP. ASAP. If you can get him for 10, ASAP. Pay him. Pay that man his money. Pay that man his money. So, yeah, I think that Charleston is my guy. Me and Charleston gonna be connected next month. So as soon as I get back from Brazil, me and Charleston will be connected next month. All right, y'all. We almost at 3 hours and 30 minutes. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the greatest audience on earth. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Peace.